Many of the news organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by two different judges, I believe, is just simply being referred to as a Maryland Man over and over again. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've created this new media seat. So I'm wondering if you can comment on following this expansion, you've had numerous outlets disparage the companies that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters. I'm wondering if you could comment on the unprofessional behavior, as well as elaborate if there's any plans to expand access to new companies.
Sure. Well, we certainly welcome diverse viewpoints in this room, which
Thank you, President Trump.
Hello, humans. This is your power report for the 24th of 24th of April. That's right. That's how dates work. 2025. I'm Dan. Bam is here. Is surprised that I'm actually on time. One of us has to be. This is way too early for this. I just played right before you were on a video of Tim Pool asking not a question.
I saw that in the rundown. I was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, real great journalist there. I'll mention it. I was gonna go through headlines, but I was gonna mention this anecdote, and I felt like it's just a great moment to kind of like jump into one piece of news we want to talk about. Tim Pool, I believe, along with Dave Rubin and Bill Maher, had the special meeting with Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu.
Oh God. When and where?
It could have been in Washington, D.C. or one of Donald Trump's many properties. And it was within the past month, I believe. And yeah, this was the thing that I think Dave Rubin may have talked about it. I don't really care. I don't really partake in his ideas. Bill Maher talked about it, and Donald Trump autographed something of Bill Maher's. I didn't really catch what it was, but I was just like, wow, bitch made.
It's embarrassing.
The only time you should have a president, I'll respect this instance and this instance alone, and only barely. That time Sacha Baron Cohen got Dick Cheney to sign the jug of water, and he was like, Dick Cheney, would you please sign my water board? That's the only time I'll allow it.
That's hilarious. I didn't even know about that. That's really embarrassing, especially for Bill Maher. Like, you built your early part of that show basically criticizing the president, being Bush at the time, and now here you go kissing the ring.
I mean, yeah, Bill Maher is not worth paying him never mind anyways, but we can bring that to who else was there? Benjamin Netanyahu. Oh right, Gaza. How's that going along? Bam, have you gotten us a peace deal yet?
Well, it's just really funny.
Don't let me down, Bam. Come on. No peace.
Yeah. No, the funny part is that it's good. Like, everything's fine. No, I'm joking. No,
Trump
I think
free Palestine, but Bam did. Thank you very much.
Right.
We were all really hoping for that.
I'm just still I'm still waiting for a free Palestiner to mention Trump. Israel is ramping up the atrocities. Over 1,000 people have died since the ceasefire talks.
Oh, well over 1,000.
Right, and that's just since January.
I mean, the ceasefire officially ended like early March. I remember because it was my birthday, so I would have been celebrating.
Yeah, no, there's. I guess it was still like tentative whenever it like happened. It never really stuck all the way. Obviously, Israel's not going to abide by any real ceasefire, but I want to say like last weekend, Hamas rejected whatever next deal was happening. I don't know what's going on with that right now, but Israel is still killing people in Gaza. There's been like a little bit more anti-Hamas sentiment in Gaza. There's also, this isn't really like that important, but I guess it's worth mentioning. It was news. Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority for ever since Yasser Arafat died, he came out and he was talking shit about Hamas and basically saying, I mean, not that I feel vindicated at all that me and Mahmoud Abbas are saying the same thing, but he was basically saying that, Hamas is sacrificing the Palestinian people and that they need to just give the hostages up. Like, he's like, he basically said, like, you're giving Israel an excuse to keep killing Palestinians. Can you just let the hostages go? And he called them dogs or something. So that was, it's not really like that significant, but I guess it is kinda, because as of right now, he is the head of the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. And that is the entity, I feel like this is so boring. That is the entity that Saudi Arabia did send their delegation to, which sparked this current war. Also,
Allegedly.
Jordan has banned the Muslim Brotherhood, which is like, I don't want to say necessarily
Brotherhood of Muslims.
It's kind of like an umbrella organization from a political standpoint. It's different in different countries, but the Muslim, like Hamas, is like an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood, like a militant offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood. So Jordan banning the Muslim Brotherhood, and there's like a political party that's connected to them in Jordan. That's kind of a big deal too. Obviously, Jordan has a big Palestinian population, and that party, I forgot the name of the party. The name of the party isn't the Muslim Brotherhood, it's like another name, but they are connected to the Muslim Brotherhood. They had been winning a lot of seats in their parliament. I don't know how powerful their parliament is. It is a monarchy, but I guess that's significant in a sense. So things are still happening in that part of the world, and I'm still a bit frustrated at the Free Palestiners, who I guess they think that it stopped when Biden got elected. I don't know. I mean, got unseated.
Actually, Joe Biden is pulling all the strings right now for Donald Trump. Donald Trump would have freed Palestine, 100 times in 100 days. It would have been like a Disney movie if it wasn't for Joe Biden pulling the strings in the deep state. He's just that strong. He's just too strong. Israel's Foreign Affairs Ministry posted a video 11 days ago that they're running as an advertisement called "No Funding for Hate: Palestinian Authority Textbooks Exposed." So, if there is any sort of like, and there wasn't ever really, but if there is some sort of break with the Palestinian Authority, with Hamas saying like, okay, you know what, let's tap the brakes, let's get over with, Israel is not going to welcome the Palestinian Authority going like, finally, we have a voice of reason with Gaza. Finally, we can we now realize that you're not all run by Hamas. They're going to start calling, we're not going to call it Palestinian Authority. They're going to call it PA because that's shorter and it sounds like a militant group. Anyone who has ever been a production assistant or a corn actress or anything you can say that has PA in it, they are going to be held at the border anytime they have to take a flight somewhere. That's what it's going to be. So
they're gonna start calling the PLO again. Well, that makes sense because Netanyahu has stated many times that Obviously Netanyahu is against a two-state solution. And with that, he's also against the Palestinian Authority being in control of Gaza. Does he have any solution himself? No, he stops there. But I think basically like anybody other than him that's not directly, a part of his circle, which his circle is shrinking. The more radical elements of his circle are shrinking. I think that they will be able to do business, whatever, with the Palestinian Authority. And it's also, and also like whoever this minister is, it's like, okay, well, what do y'all's books say about Arabs and Muslim people? Like, yeah, yes, there is some hateful shit in them books, I'm sure. But y'all got hateful shit in your books too. So, I mean, it's the Middle East. What would you expect more or less? No.
Well, we'll shift gears a little bit to we'll come back to, actually I'll stay to a little bit of international news for a little bit, because the big thing was the tariffs and Trump's masterful handling of the economy. I don't know, I'm feeling more sarcastic today than recently than usual. I don't know, like sardonic, sarcastic, I'm not sure what's going on. So, Trump went guns blazing with this trade war. Then he decided to dial it back to 10% blanket, a little bit higher on Mexico and Canada, which is fine because the United States doesn't need Mexico or Canada for anything. It's not like there was the North American Free Trade Agreement leading up to, this entire time we're in, or the United States, Mexico, Canada agreement created by that Muslim Kenyan socialist Barack Obama. Oh, wait, that was Donald Trump who created it? Well, he's a Muslim Kenyan socialist anyways. Now, thankfully, we have new and improved Make America Great Again red Republican Donald Trump, not to be confused with Muslim Kenyan socialist Donald Trump, who is tearing up all of these horrible trade deals that Muslim Kenyan socialist Donald Trump put forth to Canada, therefore become, never mind, I'm not going to go further. Basically, Donald Trump was playing this interesting game where he was like, you know what, let's fire Jerome Powell. He's the head of the Fed chair. I mean, he's the head of the Fed. He is the Fed chair. He's the one who was slow to the punch, not ready to lower interest rates, and he's probably part of the, he is, let's be honest, he is part of the deep state too, because as folks will remember, Jerome Powell was appointed by Muslim Kenyan socialist Donald Trump in 2017. And so the idea that Make America Great Again, proud to be an American, rah Kid Rock, freedom Eagles, Donald Trump would want to get rid of earlier Donald Trump's appointment is kind of no surprise to me. But it was another case, that convoluted point notwithstanding, it was another case where you see that Donald Trump does have like guardrails. He does have people who will bring him back in. And it is when the fundamentals of the American economy, the value of bonds, the value of the dollar, some of his more central investments, the military, the things that we know as people on the left more broadly are inseparable from power in this country, and that you can't really get the stamp of approval in this country without bowing to that power. Those continue to be the things that rein Donald Trump in.
Absolutely. I mean, how many times are you going to do the how many times you're going to do the we're doing 1,000,000% tariffs? No, we're not game. Like, the crazy thing about what he's doing with the economy or not doing or whatever he's doing is like
Screwing.
It's like more and more obvious that yeah, like this game that he's playing, like the jig is up. Like I think I mentioned before, it's like, okay, like these tariffs, whatever, like you're like, his thing is like the tariffs are gonna basically make America great again. They're gonna be great for the people. Um, all these heads of industry are like, buddy, no, they're not. Like they're gonna lead to a recession. They're gonna lead to like stuff not being on the shelves. Like it's gonna look like April 2020 again. So like figure your shit out. I don't know like where he's gonna go from there because he's been all about tariffs. But like I like how you have in the graphic, like all the graphs are going down into a fire because that's what it is. And it's like I just don't know like what Trump is not gonna do anything to really help the American people. Like that's not gonna happen. But what's the rhetoric gonna be? Like I don't even know like where he goes to rhetorically from here.
Yeah, I mean, like he's already freed the country from Muslim Kenyan socialist Donald Trump's regime of caring about LGBTQ people. I mean, like barely, but to your point, like when Donald Trump was running against Joe Biden, like I'll drop the bit now. When Trump was running against Biden, you had that scapegoat of the economy's bad because of trans people. Now he's done 100 days of, the easiest way I can summarize like 2 years worth of American politics is the economy's bad because of trans people and drag queens and to a large point immigrants too. And like now that Donald Trump's elected, we've gotten almost 100 days of we're doing all of these baseline attacks towards all of these liberal interest groups, and not to mention at least 20 days of the economy is going to suck, but that's good for you, you'll be fine.
Right.
And another 20 days plus 10 of Republicans receiving some of the worst confidence numbers in the economy basically since they started keeping records for Republicans. Once in the 80s when they were like, oh, if we put the words economy and Reagan together, we're juicing the numbers are through the roof, let's just like start doing that with every single Republican who runs. Even though the last time there was a balanced budget was, I think, Bill Clinton, when Bill Clinton left. If I were to call him a Republican as a joke, I kind of wouldn't be joking. But like, he was a Democratic president. He was part of the Democratic Party. And still there's this idea that Republicans are the ones who are fiscally responsible and fiscally conservative. And they're the ones who keep control of the purse, which is ridiculous and sexist. But like, you have Donald Trump pulling in numbers that are unthinkable, not even just for like presidents who are in their honeymoon phase, like less than 100 days after getting elected, but unthinkable for Republicans to be net negative on the economy in less than 100 days. Talk about a Disney movie. Net negative Republican on the economy in 100 days. It's a lot to put on a movie title, but I think they could sell it. Just know a little more marketing than they did with Centers.
I think you need a nap. Yeah, I like I said, I just wonder where he's gonna go rhetorically now. Like, is there gonna be a thing? Because like obviously his base are like the Republican voters and like the MAGA people are not sold on the whole tariff thing. And why would they be? Because every time he says it, he reneges on it.
Also, the MAGA base barely knows what the word tariff means. Like, let's be honest.
And neither does Trump. But like he sold it as something good, and you're not even doing it for real. So, yeah, I just wonder, like, what is going to be the thing, or is it just, or is he not going to talk about it anymore? Is he just going to say, "Oh, the economy is great," and focus on firing every black person that works for the
Listen,
federal government.
I hope he does, because even the Trumpiest Trump supporters are going to be like, wait a minute, I hated Biden and I hated the Democrats because they said the economy was good when it wasn't for me. Now the economy is worse, and Trump's saying the economy is good. Like,
It can work. It can work on them. They can be lied to for sure, but only some of them can. Some of them are going to be like, no, like I don't know what the egg prices are, but I'm assuming that they're not that much lower. I don't know. Wasn't there somebody you like followed who like did like egg prices every day or something like
that? Yeah, yes, there is, and the egg prices have come down from their peak. Maybe they've come down maybe like $2.50 from their peak, but they're still high.
Okay, so yeah, like if the things and also like I don't know to like what extent the tariffs have like taken shape, but especially the ones with China, because they're kind of playing the games right now with that. But if those 140% or whatever the tariffs get crazy high with China, the prices are going to raise at Walmart specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally like at Walmart, like at the place where a lot of those Southern Republican voters are going to be like, damn, Kellyanne, that was, $4.96 2 weeks ago. What's going on? Now it's $8.96. That's going to piss them off, the Walmart prices.
I have something like a little more trifling, but like worse to say, is that Walmart's a little too bougie for the voters you're talking about. We're talking Dollar General. We're talking Dollar Tree. We're talking Dollar Max. And guess what? All the same places run off of China.
100%. 100%. And some of them might have discovered Temu and Shein at this point, and that shit's going to be way higher too.
Oh, the first thing they came for specifically was that little like $800 loophole that Temu and Shein have been able to use to get really cheap shipping into the United States and into those other countries like that. Like that's one of the first things to go, and I think that's one of the first things to continue to be gone, I think. Which is going to hurt shoppers of plastic clothing everywhere. But it's not looking good for it's. When you say that, like, I don't know what Donald Trump's going to be able to say next because, yeah, the Dollar General, the two grocery stores, anywhere in the next 10 miles radius or like 30 town radius are the Dollar General across from the Dollar Tree next to the post office, which is just a box, not a mailbox, a cardboard box held down by a rock by the side of the road. I mean, because Donald Trump's coming for the post office too. Like, to that point, like, you are talking about how the deterioration of all of these systems and all of these services is going to start reaching a lot of these voters, and they're going to turn to Trump and going to be like, it's worse. My life is worse. All these soybean farmers, so, the farmers are going to continue to get subsidies, right? Like Trump gave them subsidies during the first administration when he did tariffs. He's going to do that again because that means something to him in his eyes. Like he's still very 1940s, American propaganda. Like, yeah, the farmers. So they're suffering. They're running out of water because Trump unleashed the water in California, for example. The trans people are in the closet. The immigrants are all going to El Salvador. Who you gonna blame? Ghostbusters? Like, we're out of options.
Right. Well, he's gonna. Who's next. But no, that's why.
Will Ferrell, watch out.
That's why I feel like whenever some authoritarian type leader of a country is starting to feel the pressure domestically, that's the time to look for a war abroad. And you know, Iran is like in the scopes of Trump and his cronies. They've been having these, quote unquote nuclear talks or whatever. Um, but regardless of how they go, regardless of how those talks go or not, like it doesn't mean that he can't be like, well, guys, like I got nothing else. I had tariffs. I don't know any other words about the economy, so we got to go to war.
Yeah, I'm worried about precisely that, either an internal struggle or an external struggle, or both. Honestly, an external war would likely, maybe, I don't know at this point, but like maybe would get people out on the streets, giving Trump a pretense to say, oh, all these people protesting against my obviously patriotic and correct war are terrorists. Therefore, I'm just going to get Marco Rubio to start doing like blanket deportations.
He set the precedent for that already, like he has set a precedent for it.
And, I hate to bring this in, but I keep hearing extremely dumb takes, and I hold it in for 90% of things. But, in the vein of
a news show, and that is what happened in the news.
Great timing.
Donald. So yeah, Bill Maher went to Mar-a-Lago, I think, to see Donald Trump, to talk to Donald Trump, to break bread with Donald Trump. And Kid Rock invited Bill Maher, by the way. So like, how to be Kid Rock's +1? That makes you Kid Rock. Never mind. Never mind. But Larry David had penned an op-ed to the New York Times. That was basically a satire of Bill Maher's commentary about getting to meet Donald Trump. And Bill Maher, Larry David wrote this satire in the New York Times in the style of, well, the title was called "My Dinner with Hitler," and he wrote it in the style of someone going to see, like, hey, I'd heard a lot about this Hitler guy, and people say he's really bad, but he invited me to dinner, and all the people there loved him. He really knows how to light up a room and light up a crowd. He's very charismatic, and he likes telling jokes, sometimes at other people's expense behind their back. But it's perfectly delightful. You know what? He likes sponge cake. I like sponge cake. He's ultimately a nice guy, and we may disagree on some small things, but at the end of the day, we can all get along together. And if we can't have a meal together and talk to each other, then what's even the point of anything? And so, yeah, we're a little bit different, but before I left his house, I said, thank you very much for joining me. I gave him a nice Sig Heil, and then I walked into the night. Like, it was really a delightful sort of like incorporating Bill Maher's like commentary within that. But Cenk said something along the lines of, it's important that Bill Maher is someone who can tell Donald Trump, no, don't go to war with Iran. No, don't go to war in the Middle East. It's a good thing that someone is in his ear telling him to do something that's anti-war. And I'm like,
he didn't say that. You're like saying he could have said
Bill
that.
Maher loves Muslims.
Okay, wait. Cenk didn't say that actually, though.
No, Cenk said that actually.
Oh my God.
Cenk's defense of Bill Maher going to see Donald Trump was, at least that's an anti-war voice in his orbit. Convincing Trump to not go to war with Iran. And sorry, the last thing I wanted to say, because that's why I brought it all up. He was saying that, all these concerns of, calling Donald Trump fascist or calling Donald Trump like Hitler, it's hyperbolic and it's not productive conversation.
No, saying Bill Maher's anti-war is hyperbolic, actually. I, you know why Jen can say that? Because if he was president, he'd be worse than Trump.
Ooh. Ooh.
Oh yeah, he'd be way more dictatorial.
I mean, I'm gonna stop myself right there. I think that's a decent take. What do we want to get sort of spicy? Because I know what we were talking a little bit about earlier this week. We lost one of the
Kanye?
world, huh? No. But speaking of defenders of child abuse, we lost one of the prominent pufferfish Bam. We lost one of the most prominent and prolific defenders of child abuse in the world. I'm of course talking about Pope Francis.
Okay, because I forgot his name for a second too. I was like, wait, what the hell is that fool's name?
I swear to God, I almost said John Paul II.
Yeah. I was about to say like Martine or something like that. I couldn't remember that shit.
And I think I'll put Bam on blast right now. Bam was wondering why people on the left were talking so much or even caring so much about the Pope. And my response was basically, if you're someone who talks about the news more generally, it's a big, news story because he's a big, religious figure like Gandhi or Benjamin Netanyahu or Nigel Farage, religious figures for their respective Nigel Farage is the king of the Anglican Church. Have you seen the never mind. It's a big story in that context. In the grand scheme of popes, which is another bar is in hell kind of phrase, yeah, he was liberal in the sense that he was like, I don't have an issue with gays outside the church, but inside the church, there'll be no boys touching other boys unless there's a priest in the room. I wish I were kidding, but the amount of abuse going on in the Catholic Church and a lot of places of religion, frankly, but the Catholic Church is a particularly systemic sort of version of it, would literally make Epstein blush. Just like the amount of that. Bam, you're muted.
So I'm gonna go so hard right now. You're being nice to the Catholic Church right now.
It's that going to Catholic school and having the former Catholic guilt. One of Jimmy Dore's funnier jokes, and you can tell it's funnier because he wrote it 20 years ago, was about him going to Catholic school and him having one of his teacher called Happy Hands Honahan, and that was his
Jesus.
nickname because because of that's how English works and jokes go. But no, you could talk from in that context. He was from Latin America, and so he had this big influences on the poor. He would call the Catholic Church in Gaza pretty much every night to, see how things were going. Oh, you're still being bombed? Okay, cool. Well, I'm just gonna stop myself right there. This is Trump's America. I can't go off like I could in 2024 PowerPoint. I'll just say that. I'm just saying, if you're connected to God, one way to prove it. But the and you can maybe make a joke about one of the last things that the Pope did was an Easter visit from JD Vance, and like the day after he dies, like that night, he's just like, ugh, so cringe, I'm gonna die. Like, everyone makes that joke. Other than that, there isn't really much of a reason for anyone on the left to talk about it because this isn't politics. You can't like lobby for a left-wing Pope. There is no such thing as a left-wing Pope. I think one of my favorite tweets about this all week was like, the idea of left wing and right wing just like doesn't make sense or just like transcends logic within the Catholic Church. The way that here's the tweet right here. Will the next pope be right wing? Wrong question. Catholicism is 9 times older than the left-right paradigm. There's no way to plot conclave politics on less than 20 different axes, several of which operate on non-physical planes, and 3 of which are about being Italian. Like, there's no politics that actually applies at all to the papacy. But I think there was some discourse about it because of people having still connections to the Catholic Church and treating it with some more authority than they usually would. Bam?
Yeah, my thing wasn't as much as like talking about it, but like kind of caring about the Pope. Like, it's like, yeah, sure. Oh, the Pope died. Okay, yeah, whatever. But like even giving a shit about like the Pope as a person, like that's not what we're doing, dude. Like, I watched a documentary a few months ago, or maybe like a couple months ago, about the Catholic Church abuse in Australia. I didn't realize that the document, and I did watch it on Canopy with a K. It's really good. I didn't realize that the documentary was about Australia when I like put it on my watch later, and I decided to watch it one day, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize this was about Australia. It was terrible. There were so many instances, and they're talking about like so many things about these priests touching young boys, and one of the kids deleted himself at a very young age because of this. Like it's crazy. I decided to look up because they were talking to one of the priests who had gone to prison for what he had done, and then he was getting put on trial again. Another accuser came out, so they were like actually talking to this priest who had, pled guilty to touching on children. So that was interesting in itself. But I decided to look up how much money the Catholic Church has paid out in settlements. I was only able to get in the United States. Since the 80s, the Catholic Church has paid in settlements over $4 billion. $1 billion a decade. That's how much the Catholic Church has paid out in settlements for child touching. That's since the 80s.
And those are just the paid settlements.
Yes, and that's just in America. Currently, the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, they're like on the hook for $880 million. Just the Archdiocese of Los Angeles.
So just Los Angeles
$880
is
million.
a hair short of $1 billion.
Yes, that's Dominion voting numbers. Okay. Like the Catholic Church, in my opinion, I don't know if there's anybody else in the chat. I don't know if there's any Catholics in the chat. I am going to offend you. In my opinion, at this time in the world, the Catholic Church is just a ring, dude. Like, that's what it is, dude. Like, I think that's part of it. Like, that's what they're doing, because you can't have that reputation in the whole world for so long. Like, that's the reputation, dude. Like, what's going on? In that documentary that I watched, there was a bishop from Australia who had some accusers come out on him. This bishop had a relationship with Pope Francis. Pope Francis did a sermon or whatever about it. He referred to the accusers of this bishop as devils. Himself, he said that these accusers are like devils, and like went on to say other heinous things about people that come out against abusers. I know there were some other times where he had more sympathy for abusers, but like, I don't really know. Like, Is that? I'm not gonna say. Okay, I already said enough crazy shit. I'll chill out. But I'm just like, do you got to be like the number one dude to be the pope? Do you got to be like the? You know what I mean? Like you gotta have the highest number to get popedom. Like I don't know, dog. Either way,
That's what the Cardinals do when they're voting for a new pope. They're all just like trading war stories.
he's like Johnny, Vincent, Robert.
God.
Oh yeah, Robert. Like, um, um, now
Kanye.
Kanye's a cardinal.
Oh God.
Okay,
No, Kanye's a moil.
Jesus. Woo! That was a good one. Now we're really canceled. When it comes to like the Pope, this dude Francis and the guy before him, obviously the more like right wing aligned people that are like that have power in the Catholic Church liked John Paul more, and obviously he had questionable ties and things like that. And they didn't like this guy Pope Francis that much, but that's not enough, dude. Like that's not enough. My sentiment was if you care, if you like have something in your heart for this pope, then you should have something in your heart for Joe Biden too, because he's he's not as conservative as the last guy. The right wing people hate him. So what's the difference? The Catholic Church does have an interesting history. And I would love to see it just for the comedic sake. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would really love to see what would happen if they do elect a black pope. They talked about it last time too. When John Paul died, there was some Nigerian guy who was like, they were like, oh, maybe it's going to be him. And we're like, okay, sure. Obviously this time they're doing the same thing. They're like, oh, there's this guy from Nigeria. There's this guy from Ghana. Like, I don't think they're going to do it, but I would love to see like how many people literally leave the church if they elect a black pope.
The
like,
next pope is Giancarlo Esposito.
That's hilarious. He might get like, see, they might give him a pass because that name and shit. But if it's like, Dr. Umar, like, if it's like somebody with like 3 Y's in their last name and a G.
Wait, that is like the ultimate like psyop for Catholics. Like Islam would become the biggest religion in the world. Just mass
elect a black
of Catholics.
So many Catholics are leaving, dude. Like Steve Bannon is not kissing no black person's ring, dude.
They're either all becoming evangelicals or they're all becoming Muslims. There's like no in between.
Literally.
And it might be like a 50-50 split.
Literally. Like
there's gonna be
a lot of people who just like, I can't fuck with them no more. Like, I'm sorry.
Could you just imagine the soccer games? in any game of European football in Italy is about to get like 30 times more racist. And yes, I know I said more racist in Italy and 30 times, which might be like an unfathomable number.
Imagine like the Pope's coming out the Vatican, they're doing monkey chants to him. Oh my God. Holy shit. They're throwing bananas at him and shit.
Bananas at the Pope Mobile.
Oh, literally. They're throwing fried chicken and shit.
Oh my God. They're posting memes of like the Pope Mobile rolling by and it's like Fetty Wap.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. Mine again, baby.
Oh man. A Filipino Pope, I think I could go hard, honestly. That might be like the best of all worlds.
That's tough too. I did watch an interesting movie on Peacock Should I'll just spoil it because nobody is going to watch this movie. I think John Lithgow was in it though.
As long as it's not Ferdinand Marcos.
No, I don't know what that is, but
No, sorry, wrong guy. I'm forgetting who's the more recent dictator in the Philippines.
the guy that went to jail, Duterte.
Duterte, yeah, he's the new pope.
Right. I did watch a movie on Peacock, and it was about like selecting the next pope. And I think
Leftist, if you thought you hated the Iowa caucus,
it was interesting. There was like somebody who was like, was supposed to be the guy, but then they were doing the voting, and somebody like kept on getting more votes. And I want to say he wasn't from Afghanistan, but he had been in Afghanistan, like doing work or whatever. This person, so they're doing the voting. This person ends up getting like the votes to become the pope, and then they find out that he's trans. Like I was like, holy shit, they went hard. Like there's this person's a trans man. I forgot how they found out, and I did just ruin it for everybody. But nobody was gonna watch it anyway. If you didn't watch it already, we're gonna watch it. And I forgot the name of it, to be honest with you. But that was interesting and funny.
peekaboo.
It was funny.
That's the funniest we can make all. So yeah.
Conclave, yes. Low no knows what's up. Yeah, that was Sorry, I ruined it, but whatever. Spoilers. Too late.
Pinkerbell saying the SBC got exposed a few years ago for systemic sexual abuse. Patriarchal religion sets people up to be abused by predators. Just look at followers.
Southern Baptist Church. That was a big deal.
It's not surprising. Pinkerbell saying the only people joining the Catholic Church are weirdos like JD Vance. There's been a quote that really has resonated with me is that the biggest evangelists are new converts. Like it's always those who are like just fresh onto a religion or some belief who like they've just been saved. They're now just, seeing the light. They're the ones who you have to watch out for, it seems like, which is not surprising, frankly.
Did he recently become Catholic? Is that a thing?
Yeah, JD Vance became Catholic, I want to say in like 2018, 2019.
What the hell? What kind of weird shit is that? What did you read?
His own book that he got ghost written. I don't know. It was around the time he started, being more congressional. He was like, okay, well, I can't just be the son of a crack addict. I've got to be yeah, his words. And maybe it's meth or something. I'm not sure, but I have to, have some sort of Jesus healed her. Jesus come to Jesus moment. Sorry, in order to make it in American politics. So I guess he converted to Catholicism.
You never even hear about that. Like,
I feel like he's in his 40s.
Like, I feel like I've never heard of somebody like you go be evangelical, get saved, like with the other freaking people, the Christian people. Like,
it's so much easier.
Yeah, and also like Catholicism in America is like on its way down, and like the whole Western Hemisphere, like the evangelicals took that shit over. Dude, like in Brazil, they're like persecuting Catholics now and shit. Like,
really?
Oh yeah, like the evangelicals are like winning hard. Like Bolsonaro, like the evangelical crowd, like not necessarily persecuting Catholics, but they look down on Catholicism, like these evangelicals. Yeah, I'm just like, what? Like, do you think maybe you can become a saint one day? Like, is that why? Like,
what do you think is, if we had to just make like a fun prediction, do you think the next pope is going to be more socially liberal or more socially conservative than the previous pope?
more socially conservative for sure.
Mm. Do you think the Pope and the picking of the Pope is responsive to, global trends? Because I think it was a global trend when Pope Francis was popified. I think that's the technical term. I think it was the global trend of, Obama got elected and gay marriage is becoming more popular. So yeah, why not? Let's get an Argentinian Pope who used to be a bouncer and may or may not have been involved in some pro or anti government forces popping down in the later 20th century. So do you think it is influenced by politics?
No, I think it's influenced by like who they're trying to get back into the faith. Like if they're smart, although it's obviously not a big population, but if they're smart, they will pick an Irish pope because the Catholic Church has lost a lot of power in Ireland, like so much ever since like a lot of the stuff came out with what they were doing in Ireland. Their influence has gotten very low. Obviously, there are a lot of like people of Irish descent in America. But yeah, I think if they picked an Irish pope, that would like reinvigorate the church up at least somewhat in Ireland. But I mean, they'll probably just pick somebody from Italy this time. they're like, that's cool, dude. Like freaking Poland and Argentina, y'all got your chance, but let's bring it back home, guys.
Oh, a Polish Pope.
Wasn't John Paul Polish?
I don't remember, honestly.
That was almost my name, was John Paul.
That makes sense. Anyone can read into that however they want to, how it makes sense. Anyways.
Yeah, he was Polish.
I feel like he was Polish has such like very little context in many cases. Very rarely you're supposed to go like, he's Polish.
Yeah, I meant it in a racist way too.
Like in King of the Hill, how Cotton goes, he's not Japanese, he's Laotian, ain't you, Mr. Khan? So watch out, Bam, because RFK Jr. is putting going through people's medical records to figure out whether or not people have autism and then putting you on a list.
Okay, well, I know some people that are going to be on there. I don't know if they're diagnosed, but I'm diagnosing them. Actually, okay, I don't think you're allowed to say that. I don't know if this is the right place to be making jokes like that, but I did see his comments about autistic people. I'm like, I just don't even know. Like, this is like such an uneducated person. Like, do you have a fucking brain? Like, what the stuff he's saying? Like, an autistic person is never gonna pay taxes and never gonna have a girlfriend. I'm like, what is going on here, dude?
It is really. That is kind of really the sickening part, like in all seriousness, because it kind of like another weird phrase on Power Report that I can't believe we're already like, this early into the Trump administration, but we're saying it. Never mind the blatant eugenicist angle about this. Like, if we can put aside that for a moment, which again, not even 100 days into the administration, and we're already talking about eugenics. Awesome. Never mind that, because that has been one of the first speed bumps in the road to fascism. But when RFK Jr. says things like, oh, these are people who, first off, and the biggest tell is that it always starts this by saying, oh, these are people who don't even pay taxes. So it's like, okay, these are people who, in your mind, RFK, aren't worthy citizens because they're leeching off of the government. They're leeching off of rich people because, they pay taxes. And they're leeching off the government and unable to give anything back. They're not even able to work and pay into the corrupt system that exists, right? So therefore, they're invalid in his eyes. Like they can't hold in bodily fluids and bodily functions. They can't hold conversations or have jobs. All of these things are, JFK era ideas of mental health and autism and how it works. Like this is lobotomy politics is what we're talking about here. When in reality, we now know that, I mean, I shouldn't even have to explain this, but one of the easiest reasons to explain why rates of autism are going up is because we have a bigger understanding of it and a broader understanding of autism, and we're able to diagnose it and all of its other co-diagnoses that come with it. So like one of the common co-diagnoses with autism is a common thing, just like in American society with mental health, it's anxiety and depression. Now you have doctors, and some doctors, still not enough, who are qualified enough to be able to give these diagnoses. And so because that information is out there, that diagnoses are being given out more. And it's not like, okay, now we're giving people pills or medication to deal with these things. Sometimes, yes, although there's no pill that gives you more or less autism, right? Like these are just...
No, that's what vaccines do.
That's what that's definitely what all the things that all the pills that Joe Rogan and all the other right wingers sell don't do. Trust me, trust them. Imagine buying brain pills from Joe Rogan because he says they work. Like that's once he was able to do that for 5 years, he was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll be a right winger. It's so much money. He's like, I told him I'm an idiot twice every 5 episodes. They keep buying my brain pills. Okay, sweet. But yeah, there's much more of an understanding about it. Therefore, you're seeing an increase in diagnoses because we're able to say, oh, this is a reason why these certain tasks may be harder for you, or why these certain tasks may be easier for you. And here's how you can deal with these things and kind of approach these things in your life. And here's some tools to deal with it. But yeah, many people with autism live perfectly functional, like, quote unquote productive lives. Not that that is something that makes your life valid or justifiable. People are calling it unfounded and stigmatizing. And again, all of that is before you bring in the obvious eugenicist angle with this, which is like, how did we get here? It's almost impossible to toss that aside when that is such a prominent thing and has been a key part of fascism. But it's okay. Let's all have a beer with RFK Jr. It'll be fine.
Right, right. I mean, no. Whoa, I don't know if someone like Cenk is like paying attention to this aspect, but to hear this person, RFK Jr., speaking like this in 2025, it's like sickening, dude. Like, yeah, and it's almost like you're saying something so blatantly ridiculous. It's not to say like there's going to be something good necessarily, but like the good thing that's going to happen from this, I feel like there's going to be like even more people that are like vehemently against this administration after everything he said. Like, I really hope people don't forget. I mean, RFK probably going to get fired at some point, but I really hope people don't forget, like, this person was like in the Trump administration. There's obviously not Trump or Elon or anybody saying anything against what he said. And he was just so adamant about it. Like, it's like that's the thing that he's been waiting for this whole time, is to say this when he's at this position. And wanting to do like some registry, it's like, for like, to do what, dude? Like, to do what with that information? Then what? Like, round them up? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. really we should have a Spartacus moment and just if the registry does come out, everybody put their goddamn signature on there. Yeah. All 300 freaking 30, we were all autistic. Now what? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All of us. We took Gardasil. We took the measles vaccination. We don't have HPV, and we are all autistic now. I'm just joking.
Well, there goes our monetization for the episode, folks. Syndicate23.co to pay the bills. No, I think that, yeah, like RFK has mentioned saying, okay, we've got to get these people into care and, off the streets, like, okay, we're, and who's going to run these care facilities? Is it going to be our fine friends, the Geo Group?
Right, exactly. Like,
I was going to say, they happen to already be building facilities to handle migrants they can't ship to El Salvador. So, they've already got facilities going up left and right. It's like, hey, you already have the government contracts with you. Can you make some asylums for us too? Which goes back to this retrograde 1960s lobotomy thesis on mental health care, which is, they would just use the R slur just like very fluently there back then for sure. And then say,
like how you do in the group chat.
and they would say, and Bam would say, notice he's not denying it. I'm just so used to Bam at this point. But yeah, they'd say, oh, just throw him in the insane asylum. And that's nice. Like, and you've even heard it from Donald Trump at times when he's saying, like, they're coming from asylums. These migrants, they're trying to get into our country, and they're coming from asylums. They're sending them from asylums, not understanding that the migrants are seeking asylum, as in a legal term for safety. Not that Guatemala is pulling a Reagan and closing all the insane asylums and sending them up to the country. But like, that's what he wants people to believe. It's a fundamentally dehumanizing thing. And you actually have conservatives going, well, if you look at HIPAA, it's perfectly fine for researchers and the government to look at medical records. I don't get why people are upset. Byron Donalds or Byron Davis, I forget what his name is, but he's a lawmaker in Georgia, and he was saying, people are angry that these young people at Doge got access to all these different records when the Biden administration allowed students to access this data because they were on an internship. So why weren't liberals upset then? It's like,
what?
We have idiots. It's not idiots. It's, Papa, when the Nazis invaded America, what were you doing? It's like, I was coding for them, son.
I will repeat it. If they do bring out some autism registry, everybody better sign up. Everybody. The wrong kid got lobotomized. Jesus Christ. That's a good one, Pinkerbell. I saw that video on Instagram to Brazilian funk music. I just want to let you guys know that. That video is on Instagram. That's funny. But yeah, everybody sign up. And that's the thing too, like you were saying, like, okay, what facility or what care are they supposed to get? Now all of a sudden we're supposed to be getting some care? All of a sudden we can get some health care, right? Okay. All of a sudden.
What we need is a universal program to take care of people with autism. It's like, wait, hold on. That worm in his brain might be cooking finally.
You feel me? Like, okay, and then what? What's going to happen at this care place? Like, what are we talking about here? Because really, I think he just means like the county jail, actually. But like, no, just lock him up. But it's really a shame because, and I don't know, like, what's going to happen with this, like
the Arkham Asylum Act of 2025,
right? Like, I wonder if somebody will get in his ear. Avoid that worm and say like, okay, what you're saying is like very antiquated and you don't understand what autism is. So let me show you. Please share this joke with everybody, Dan. Whatever's making you laugh, please share it.
I was just looking up photos of the video game Batman's Arkham Asylum, and I was like,
but yeah, hopefully somebody can tell him something about autism, because like, yeah, it was really like shameful and just like, it was just really low. It felt like he's bullying, and I really didn't like it. I was like, this is like, and also I'm just like, don't you see Elon, dude? Like, don't you see him?
I thought we were gonna make it out of the segment without a joke, but like,
no, I'm dead ass. Like, I don't know what his diagnosis is or lack thereof. I don't know, but like when you see him, it's like, okay, yeah, like whatever. That's not the bad. Obviously, that's not the bad part about him. But like, I mean, I feel like it's fairly obvious, right?
I mean, like it's remember, Elon Musk isn't a Nazi. He's just R-worded. Was actually a right-wing excuse. Like
now,
Elon Musk isn't a Nazi.
Dan, the problem with what you just said is that you said R-worded. So you like added the did at the end because you really want to say it. Everybody else would just say R-word. But you say R-worded, like you added a syllable because you want to say it so bad.
No, I use the past participle of the word did to describe what it is. But like the right-wing argument was Elon Musk has autism, therefore he was having one of his spastic moments when he let his arm out like that. Or the nicer version of that was, he really loves his planes, he really loves his cars, he gets enthusiastic sometimes. That was the excuse. He was being talked about like a child with autism. And that's why the Anti-Defamation League was like, of course he's not a racist. Of course he's not a Nazi.
Well, you know what?
People with their autistic fixations, like going to Europe to speak in front of the AfD to say that Germany needs to be for Germans. Some people have train sets, some people collect stamps, some people call for the purity of the white race. Like, just autism things.
Right. Now, I'm all for this autism registry death camp if Elon goes first.
Well said. I think, yes, and sorry, just one last thing, just to like break the non-seriousness for a moment. The way that, and this is happening, you see this a lot with like mental health care, like anytime you have a mass shooter or something where, oh, they were depressed, or oh, they were isolated, or it was this, it was that. It's like, yeah, there are a ton of people who are depressed or isolated, or maybe have been thinking about self-harm. Unfortunately, I've been there, right? But those people don't then turn out to be like killers, right? Like they don't turn out to be murderers. There's a different thing going on when you have something like that. When you have messed up people, when you have people with like bad aims and intentions in the way they behave, it is not because of whatever conditions or things they have, because there are plenty of other people with those medical conditions and they don't behave like that. I want to kind of like go to another fun thing, because we kept kind of talking about this point of, if you have someone like, okay, you're going to send people to where and provide them with what services if you put them on an autism registry? Well, the Trump administration and JD Vance, they're talking about they want another baby boom. They want a baby boom because the issue in America is that there's so many houses out there that we need families to fill them, because we have so many empty houses in America, and food is so inexpensive. It's really cheap, and a lot of that food is going to fat adults. and there's not enough food for all the children that should be eating. In fact, we need more children to eat all this food because we just have so much food to waste. And there's so many educational options that are accessible for all sorts of families who need to take care of their kids, whether it's pre-K and preschool all the way to 6th and 7th grade. And households can exist off of one breadwinner, definitely a man, making the whole salary, and then the entire family can eat off of that. Of course, these are things that don't exist. Nevertheless, Donald Trump and JD Vance are saying, oh, we're going to be the baby administration. We want people to have more kids. And they're looking into a $5,000 baby bonus incentive, giving families $5,000 an incentive to have more children. And of course, I think one of my favorite things of Donald Trump doing this, it's really smart policy.
Thank you, President Trump.
Is that $5,000 is the honestly more than you need to take care of a kid from when they're born to when they turn 18.
Like 5 racks is like having a baby in the hospital.
5 racks is like you've already lost 60% of that in the ambulance right there. Like
literally. Also, I wonder, like, I mean, I don't think this is gonna happen, but I wonder, like, what
there's gonna be a Doge dividend where all of the waste, fraud, and abuse that Doge found was gonna be turned into checks that are sent out to millions of Americans, except the federal service, the Federal Payments Bureau, that system, Elon Musk and Doge gutted. The IRS, which is pretty much the only thing in America that has all of our direct deposit and address info, the ability to send checks to us, the ability for them to do that has been gutted. So, yeah, there is no way for the government to do that.
And also, I remember what they were like, however many billion they were talking about at that time when they were talking about it. Like, we would be getting like a $6 check or some shit like that. Like, people hear the word billion are like, oh my God, so much money. It's like, dude, we got like, let's just say half the population is adults. Like, this $100-something billion you're talking about, it's like $10, dude. Like, it's really not that serious. But yeah, I just wonder who this baby bonus would go to, because he's not sending that shit to the projects. Like it's gonna be for like only people in Idaho or some shit like that, or like only freaking like South Dakota.
I know our audience knows this.
White people.
I know this. I know our audience knows this, but based on the rough population of the United States, if Doge saved, let's be generous, Doge saved $1 billion, and that became a dividend, every American gets about $3. Let's subtract some money, because we have like 300 million people in this country, right? 330 million if you include all the unborn babies. But like, yeah, that's like that costs more in postage or like, digital transfer fees. By the time you get in all of that, congratulations, Elon Musk got you shaving a haircut $2. $2. $2. That's $1 billion, all right? And there are people like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, on these days where Trump and his friends are pumping and dumping the economy, they're making billions of dollars in like hours.
Oh, yeah.
Single people making an amount of money where you can give every single breathing American and some of their pets $3. Right? Like individuals make that in hours.
Pinkerbell says the 5K will be a tax rebate given only to net taxpayers, not to anyone who actually gets a refund. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, and once again, it's not going to happen. But
so, like, not Elon.
Yeah, exactly. Like, then it's like, yeah. Well, I don't know about all these like super wealthy people if they're having kids still, but maybe like once you get over 20 kids, then they would give it to him because he probably has like 30 at this point. But yeah, like the way to encourage people to have children is to like have a prosperous society. A way to encourage people to have children actually would be universal health care. If people didn't have to pay, $60 for an Advil, at the hospital. Like, I think when my mom had me, it was like, back then it was like $10 per Advil. And now it's
Per
like,
pill, not even per
like per
container.
pill for one Advil. So what the hell? Some bug in here. So hold on, let me get this freaking bug. I'll be right back.
All right. No, but like to that point, it is so expensive to get healthcare in this country and to like have a baby, to get all of those tests, the sonograms, to check on it through all the trimesters. Like that is an expensive process. Another thing, to go to Bam's point about a prosperous society, would be better to have kids in, and that would motivate people to have kids. Just think about if there were universal childcare, pre-K systems, rather than Donald Trump and the Department of Education under Linda McMahon, who still calls it A1 and not AI. They're cutting Head Start programs. They're cutting pre-kindergarten programs. These are programs that I got to go to as a kid. And so like, these are helpful for parents who can't, they're working 40 hours a week, sometimes multiple jobs. You'll have households that have 2, 3, 4 jobs, and they're still unable to, they're barely able to keep mortgage or rent and food and relative, entertainment, things like that in the household. But childcare, there are people who are paying like $40,000 a year for childcare. And, a lot of families can't come up with that because that's like a lot of people's like annual incomes, period. And they've got a lot other things to do. So it's a lot easier to have kids if you know that they can be taken care of. And a society that you pay taxes into is able to take care of them like that. How many other different things could you possibly have in a society? Basically all things that Republicans don't want. A public transportation system so that these kids aren't just thrown to the wolves and they have to get a car if they're living in the majority of parts of this country. One of the number one killers of young kids and teenagers are car accidents. There's just so many other different things. If there are fewer fly swatters so that BAM doesn't eventually start killing all these children, that'd be better for
I just want to say something. I know when you're talking about childcare, and I think you said like people are paying like up to like $40,000 sometimes for childcare a year. I just remembered in Canada, I'm fairly sure it passed under Trudeau. It was like $10 a day childcare for children under 6. And yeah, that's like about like $3,000 a year or something like that.
That's still a lot, but that's like something. That's a lot more affordable.
Yeah, no, it's way more affordable than anything here. Like, it's
there are parents in America that spend that much money on fast food for their kids every day.
Right. So yeah, a universal childcare, or like a childcare that's like affordable and also good. Yeah, there's so many things that would like, and people would be like, okay, like, yeah, I'm not gonna go broke if I have a baby. Like, okay, let's do it. I know people that are like, married, or they're like, yeah, we want to have a kid, kind of, but it's like that's just expensive, and I'm like, yeah, I feel you. You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, all like the poor people be having kids like it ain't shit. So I don't know.
I mean, one piece here. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to stop myself. One piece here. 3 drinks later, I'm talking about welfare queens. No. One piece here I think is relevant is that if Donald Trump and JD Vance want to have a society where you have more kids, this article from the Associated Press that's being cross-posted in Fortune here. New parents are worried Trump's tariffs will make having a baby prohibitively expensive. Quote, babies don't stop being born because there's tariffs. And that's true. Like Freddie says, once you're poor, it doesn't matter as far as like poor people having kids, which is fair, right? Like it's like, okay, you're already poor. Like you just use the same toys and the same like stroller and cradle that's like just gets passed around the family essentially. And true, like I've seen that before it happens, but for most families, like you're buying all this stuff sort of like brand new. These strollers, these all these other different bottles and toys and monitoring systems for babies. It's not General Electric making them. It's not General Motors making them. It's not Apple making them. It's not Google making them. And guess what? If they do have like Apple, Google, or whatever, they have that little designed in Cupertino or designed in Arizona, made in India, made in China, made in Taiwan, made in Bangladesh, like all of that stuff, all the baby clothes. Like we're not making it in Canada until we start making like full-on lumberjack outfits made out of wood for babies. We're not doing that. So there's nothing that Trump is doing. You can't have these outcomes without creating these systems for them, which is why systemic change is becoming more and more of a necessity for Democrats to talk about and act for. There's no law or policy or, quote unquote reform we can pass at this point to get out of the situation. Like there's no like Affordable Care Act that we can do to get out of the situation now. It's going to be, it's like, you're going to see some stock market chaos in different sectors, like maybe once a month. It's going to be like, okay, Chairman Dan is coming for the healthcare sector this month. And so he's nationalizing all the health insurance companies. Everyone's going to be fired for like a month. I'm going to doge the healthcare system, fire everybody for like a month until I figure out, okay, which one of you do I absolutely need? And which one of you are like the biller for the biller for the biller for the biller? And you're just going to have to, find some other accounting job somewhere else, like do someone's taxes. And the next month we come after the tax sector and we do all that automatically because the government can do that. But yeah, you have to create the systems and the conditions for people to want to go, yeah, I'll have a kid. Like, yeah, that's a logical, non-financially ruining decision for me.
Yeah. It's I think people that are like being intentional about having children, which I think is the best way to do it. They're thinking of their costs and they're thinking of like wanting to have their child in like the best possible situation, like finances ruin relationships all the time. Like if, a young couple have a child and like, let's say like they say, okay, we can afford it April, you knock them up. All right, let's go. 9 months from now, there's 200% tariffs on China and like everything that costs, $50 is costing like $150 or whatever. So I can't do math, but, it's, but it's like one of those situations where it's like that stress is going to end up being terrible for that family. And people are thinking about that right now. They're like, I would imagine, people are thinking about that. Like, who the hell knows what's going to go on with this guy, Trump? Like, let's wait.
Yeah. Kids don't grow up in environments where their parents are constantly arguing with each other about money and finances.
Right.
Yeah. Like, that's not a stress-free, conducive environment for a kid.
You might rather them argue about like cheating than money. Like that shit is rough on kids. Like, cause you're just sitting there like, well, shit, man. Like, I don't even got nothing to do with this. Like, I'll eat cereal. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, a lot of kids will put it on themselves. Like, they'll eat Vienna sausages instead.
Shit. That's a real throwback right there. Open that can, pull out with your fingers, hot sauce, crackers. Them shits used to kind of smack.
Drink the little sauce that it comes in the can, just like,
Okay, no, we was never that. When I would be in Virginia, oh my God, we were poor. Like it was canned oysters, canned sardines, Vienna sausages. Oh my God. As long as you got some hot sauce, everything's okay.
No wonder you are plant based now, because you just like used to throwing hot sauce on it and it's fine.
Oh yeah, whatever.
No, that's not, it builds character for sure, right? But especially when you're a kid, like we got on that tangent because I was saying like, okay, you'll internalize some of those things as a kid.
Right.
You will, there's a lot of kids who will take on jobs because their parents need help making ends meet. And look at that. We have a predatory capitalist system in this country where child labor and child laborers predate on children who are in that situation, where the conditions are such that they need to work as 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds in order to make ends meet. There's this complaint, like people were saying, why do we have tariffs on Australia or New Zealand? And the response was, do you know how much Australia and New Zealand put tariffs on our beef and how they won't eat American beef? And it's like, well, yeah, first of all, because it's shit. Second of all, because you're looking at RFK Jr.'s results, or like, this latest thing. He's like, yeah, we're going to get rid of the part of the FDA that does inspections for meat and goes to different meat plants to make sure they're, using it sanitary, so that the whatever quality, AA grade in America, C grade anywhere else in the world, like beef that we have in this country, to make sure that's, not going to immediately kill you with E. coli, at least most of the time, or at least we'll know when there's E. coli in the meat every twice a year, so that we'll know to avoid it. It's been said a lot this week, especially, but the Republicans are looking at like Upton Sinclair, like, yeah, he was talking about utopia back then. The jungle is about paradise. That's what we want to get back to in this country. Look at how free the corporations were. You could just hire kids, and if their fingers got cut off and made into a hot dog, well, hey, take me out to the ball game, right?
It's a shame. What was it, Florida or like Arkansas, like legalizing child labor or trying to? I want to say it was Florida.
Arkansas is just one of those states that sounds like it has child labor already.
Right. But maybe it was Florida. Yeah. They would love to.
The Arkansas state flag again.
It was Arkansas. Freddie's saying it's Arkansas. RFK Jr. is funded by Big Listeria. That's hilarious. Yeah, I guess it was Arkansas. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. You gotta like put the song right there too. Run away, run away.
I'll find the anthem for us.
But the anthem is my N-word. Yeah, it's really a shame that these are the things in the wealthiest country in the world that can just like, have like golden cities in the desert just for no reason. And, it's you got people that are like they work like full time to, young married people or young people in relationships have, 2 jobs working full time that they needed degrees for, and they still feel like we can't afford to have one baby, like that. Yeah. And like, yeah, Trump saying like, oh, we'll give him $5,000. Like, well, that's not going to do it, dude. Like, even if it was that, like, oh, we'll give him 5 racks. Like, no, people are just going to take them 5 racks and get that baby up for adoption.
And that's the exact wrong with you. Like, isn't this the whole thing of like, oh, these people just be having babies to get government money? And Donald Trump's like, here's some government money to have babies, as long as they're white.
Literally. I know there'd be like some way to like make sure no black person got that check, yo.
Oh my God. It really just hit me then that like the welfare queens party is now the baby boost party. That's what they're calling it, the baby boost.
Jesus Christ.
You're gonna have all these white families buying cyber trucks with their down payments with their dividend.
Oh God.
With like 4 kids.
I don't even want to
Name-
hear Cybertruck.
Billy
I
Bob,
like
Jim Bob, Lisa Ann, Sarah Lou.
he said as long as they're white and Christian. Yeah, no, there's going to be some way they're going to be trying to do that, but I don't think it's going to happen either way because it's not like
The
Trump
great grandfather clause.
It's not like Trump is trying to get not like Trump or anybody in his administration is trying to give money to people. That's like not what they're trying to do. Let's not forget those stimulus checks that he sent out were like all the Republicans voted against it. Yeah, that's not going to happen, I would imagine. But like we were both saying, like, create the conditions for people to have babies. I'm not having no kids, but I get happy when I hear somebody's having a baby because I'm like, well, somebody's got to have them shit. Like somebody got to have a baby. We got to still have people. So when somebody's like bold enough to do it, I'm like, okay, nice. Like, hey, you did it, so I don't have to do it.
Freddie said earlier, forget the expense. Children are horrible people. Future generations will thank us for not having them.
That's hilarious. I didn't see that. That's too funny.
Just a fact check real quickly. This is from NPR in 2023, so biased. It was almost 2 years ago to the day, actually. But it said states like Iowa, Missouri, Ohio, and Arkansas, newly passed or pending laws allow companies to hire children without work permits and allow children to work longer hours under more dangerous conditions in places like construction sites, meatpacking plants, and automobile factories. God, thank God, because that was the real issue. There were all these pesky work permits that were required to get kids to work underage. It's like, okay, you can work underage as long as you get a little piece of paper that could be forged. Now you don't even have to worry about that. And you know what? The problem is that our child labor that we had to forge paperwork for to get them to work legally, we can only get them to, even under with that paperwork, only get them to work 6 hours a day. Now you can stretch it to 8 in the summers when they don't have homework, right? You can stretch it to 8. Maybe you can get away with 10 if you pay them, a nickel under the table or so. But no, now they got rid of that. So thank God we can innovate more. That's the thing. America would be able to make iPhones if we just had 8-year-olds screwing in the little bolts with their tiny hands. But no, like Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, one of the books that back when we had school systems, you would read as like an early historical text or like an English text in school in like 8th or 9th grade to be like, oh, America was the trenches. Like actually, like we had no standards. We were eating fingers in bone, like we were eating human fingers and bones in our hot dogs, and still are. And the last thing I'll put from here was from this article from 2023. The Department of Labor reported a 69% increase in the number of children, many of them undocumented migrants, employed illegally by companies since 2018. That was 2018 to 2023, and that was already 69% increase. That's most likely only going up and turbocharging under this administration and under right-wing, quote-unquote, right-to-work states. But no, everyone should have more kids.
It really bothers me too because like, having like a 15-year-old, 14-year-old, I don't know how young these people are, 16, like you're really like it's already damn near slave conditions in these places. Like, but a child, like a young person, you even can more like not pay them their actual wages,
They're easier to exploit.
And I'm also just like thinking about like the harassment. Like it's like a young person's like more likely to not speak up. Like I really look at these people like that want these laws and like these people hiring these people. Like you're really shitty. And I think that you're probably a PDF file too.
Oh, like when we're talking about what systems would be conducive for having kids, let's just look at what the system is conducive for. The system is conducive for blaming trans and LGBTQ people on child abuse, for blaming the left on child abuse. They keep like pointing to all these different things. Meanwhile, we used to do this exercise more often, but you can just Google arrests for child abuse, and not only is it usually straight men, more often than not, it's cops. So, and we know that once you're in that system, there's really no way for you to, be arrested for that case, or really even lose your job or be unhireable as a police officer, someone who is theoretically and quite literally above the law. But you're getting rid of sexual education. You're saying, oh no, this is making our kids gay and trans, and therefore they turn into pedophiles, or it's more likely for pedophiles to like abuse them, when in reality you teach kids sex education so they understand what boundaries look like and how to establish them, and what it looks like when someone is taking advantage of those boundaries or going around those boundaries, because they know that children with less information about these things are easier to exploit. They're easier to isolate, and it's harder to isolate a kid who knows about sexual ed in an appropriate manner like that. So these conservatives are taking that away. Many of these same conservatives who were fun on Epstein's Island and having a gay old time doing that, right? But they're creating the conditions to not only make it easier for children to be abused, but for children to have to work harder, for children to be stuck in poverty cycles, for children to, be forced to do anything for money and thrive in a society like that. And that's only going to get more and more depraved the more and more people are taught that way. But that's the system these right wingers are creating.
They're probably going to be able to try to lower the age for credit cards. Like, I'll give them a credit card when they're 14.
They're trying to do that. Getting rid of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, like getting rid of all these other different entities. Guess you want to know what websites we're trying to get around? Oh, you need to check a box confirming that you're 13 years old in order to use this website. The social media companies.
Right.
I was just hearing something about the Facebook algorithm, and there's like so many different articles that have been done and books that have been written. Many of these people are like former Facebook executives. One was I believe there was this one book written by someone who used to work at Facebook pretty high up, and there was a chapter that detailed how there was a memo that said 65% of all of the illegal child interactions like happening on Facebook were happening because the Facebook algorithm was pushing children towards PDF files in the social graph and connecting them.
Lord.
And they knew this, and they were like, okay, that's great. Now go ahead and hide that memo because we need to make some more ad revenue.
Right.
Those same companies, back in the day, conservatives would be like, oh, all these PDF files who work for big business, right? Now, because Mark Zuckerberg goes to UFC battles and pays Donald Trump a lot of money, he's one of the good ones, and he's fighting woke.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Unserious country, man.
Oh, yes. Well, hopefully we can get some good legislation, but sadly, the white backlash is real. Don't post that. Don't post that last chat. Don't put that on the screen.
I was reading that one. I was like,
don't put that on the screen.
I have some good news, some non-ironic good news. The Pentagon is resuming medical care for transgender troops. This is according to a federal appeals court in California denying the department's effort to halt the policy while the challenge is still pending. So that's good. It's like the courts that Donald Trump and the administration have a flood the zone theory with the courts and the news as well. And, you know, some things the administration is ignoring. Some things the administration is just, you know, capitulating very quickly and giving up because they don't want a public protruded legal fight that makes it seem like they're losing. Because if they have too many of these fights at once, then the flood the zone tactic of firing 45 guns in the air becomes a problem when all those bullets come down. And they're constantly and they're now having to dodge 45 different bullets that are falling to the ground right at them. So they're kind of dodging that. I mean, like, that's good that there are cases where Trump is just trying to ignore the courts, but there are cases where the courts kind of slap back and decide to make Trump tap the brakes in some way. So a little bit of unironic good news there for now, but like with all these different things, when it's bouncing back and forth between the courts, I mean, you can get care one day, you can not get care the next day. People can be worrying about being on a list for receiving this care and potentially could be reprimanded by another attorney general or, you know, Department of Defense head. Like, any of these things could happen now because Donald Trump's opened the floodgates for that.
It's kind of like you said, when a lot of this stuff was happening, I think, you know, we were talking about how, like, a lot of these people that are in, you know, these military positions, the important positions, you know, sitting behind the computer with the you know, behind these desks, you know, half of them are furries and shit. Like, it's like,
yeah, like,
dude.
I said specifically, to the extent that the United States has any sort of like cybersecurity,
Right.
it's because furries are in the military.
Literally. So, like, yeah, I think they were probably like, you know, they're like, we're gonna, okay, if I can't get any medical care, dude, like, don't make me freaking Eric Snowden this shit right now. Like, but yeah, that's
like,
good.
If I don't get my hormone blockers, I'm just gonna leak this stuff I'm just gonna put it on WikiLeaks. I'm gonna
Literally.
upload like it's like I'm
I'm
gonna
upload
upload
the P-tape.
I'm gonna upload Pete Hegseth's browser history to GitHub. Like, just test me.
Literally. So, and also like the Pentagon or whatever, like these people that, like, the military
Pentagram.
people, like, they have already come to terms with, like, trans people in the military years ago. Like, they're like, all right, dude, like, yeah, whatever, we're paying for it, dude, whatever. Like,
Yeah, people who work in the Pentagon, actually, like, to the extent that they encounter trans people, they realize that it is a bigger impediment to their job to think about the gender non-binary bathrooms or whatever that are in the hallways than it is to just, like, do your job, right? Like,
right.
the only impediment being trans in the military is for people else who work in the military, who work in the Department of, who basically work in an office. Like, let's be real. This isn't like looking to your left and there's someone with pink hair, so like you can't trust them, because like the military don't even do that hair dye shit, really, to so to speak of, really, right? But it's like, we're talking about office jobs, and the only time someone's identity is a problem for you in an office job is when you're the problem.
Literally. And also, like, when it comes to the American military, like, obviously I mean, when you think about, like, the culture of the military, you know, to just say it like this, like, marginalized people have always been a part of the military, at least, like, in not going back to, like, the Revolutionary War, but, like, you know, since the Civil War. Like, was it segregated? Yes. But but like the military,
like Bad Company or Catch-22, where they were given the worst equipment and working under the worst circumstances.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But like the like racist American military has been willing to give black people guns for a long time. Like, they're like, look, dude, like, you know, you gotta go over there. But like
listen, you got us in a bind here. We're like,
we kind of need you. You know,
yeah.
So like to in turn, like,
hey, bygones.
You're right. So to
GI Jim.
to discriminate against trans. Like, really, the military, and I guess I can't speak for like every country, but like I would imagine for the most part in any like large country with a fairly large military, is like anybody that wants to join will take you. Like if they have a culture of military, like a culture of being in wars and stuff, like, yeah, you want to join? Yes, come on. Who cares?
Even like countries like Singapore with a compulsory military, or South Korea.
Yeah, I mean,
They'll take Korean pop stars. Like,
they're literally in America. Like, literally, people don't have to be like, you don't like. You can have a green card and be in the military. People go be in the military and still get deported. Like after, so like this is not like the whatever the Trump administration was trying to do. It's like that's even going against the culture of the United States military, especially these days. They're taking anybody they can get.
I mean, Bam, you and I may know people who a while ago, not in any recent administration since like 2016, but they, maybe they came over when they were really young. So they weren't like born in America because they don't have citizenship, but they see the military as a way to get citizenship faster.
So many people in San Diego I knew that like were not technically a citizen. They joined the military. Nothing. Yeah. They were right there. They did. I know people
got Ron DeSantis.
I know people that got deployed, like literally saw combat and were not a citizen. Like I went to college with a guy who got deployed. He was in some like super duper units and shit like that. Was like training in Colombia, all kinds of random stuff. Came
That's
back.
what it's actually called, like in the military, for folks who in the chat who are like the big military heads. It's the super duper units.
Right. Like he came back with hella PTSD and stuff like that. And like and he was like at San Diego State. And it was like all kinds of stuff because he like wasn't a citizen. I was like, damn. All right.
Freddie, we'll read this one. Friend dated a cop in Chicago that worked with a few trans people. No one batted an eyelash. Yeah. Yes. Tinkerbell. I met a very old trans veteran at the post office who was fully disabled and depends on the VA and her daughter for care. And now she's having to re-verify all her identity documents and she's very scared. That is scary, honestly.
That's insane.
Because, like, yeah, for people who have lived their lives for a long time, transitioned, their older documents are not going to reflect that. It might reflect dead names, older gender identities. It's not going to be great. And it's not also another way that they are making it harder for people to get real IDs. They're making it harder for people to get voter IDs because they have to get all this other information. And guess what? If you're a straight cis woman and you changed your last name in marriage or change your last name because you didn't like your dad or whatever, then that can also be an issue for you because your documents and certificate names will start to not match. So be careful.
Trump's coming from us all. Mo says it's from the Nazi playbook to kick trans people from the military. Yeah, good luck, man. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, they're holding down a sector of the military, and it's like Trump. There's a lot of areas where you can push your weight, but I don't think you're going to tell the Department of Defense like who to kick out because they're going to be like, well, you got some other people for us? Shit.
Yeah, it's like, what? You want the Navy to do cybersecurity?
I mean, it's even funny, like, even when it comes to like the these people he's having deported and stuff, like, I'm surprised that they're not saying like, hey, you want to join the military? Like, I'm surprised they're not doing that because the numbers are so low.
Worst Southwest Airlines ad ever. You're getting deported, and the ICE agent looks at you one last time and goes, "Want to get away?"
Jeez, America is such a funny country. I swear.
speaking of some of the funny stuff, we want to talk about Whiskeyleaks too.
Oh yeah, I didn't. You know what's funny? I didn't really look into it that much because I was just like, it's going to be like the last one. But I'm excited to hear about it.
I mean, that's sorry to burst your bubble, but like that's pretty much the case. It's the same as last time. It's slightly less dumb because a journalist wasn't, added and just lurking the entire time, taking screenshots of the entire thing, waiting for the right moment to strike. High seas. But it also was worse in that someone in the government used a secure channel to communicate with Pete Hegseth, the war maneuvers that were going on involving Yemen, I believe, or involving Iran, right? I think Yemen actually. Hegseth then takes them from that secure channel, then copy pastes it or relays that information on his personal phone with a Signal app on it, and puts it in a different group chat with some government officials, and also Pete Hegseth's wife and brother and lawyer.
Oh God, not the lawyer. I thought it was just his wife, not the lawyer.
Not the brother. And they were getting on Hunter Biden's ass.
Really? That's just because he was so endowed.
Like back then they were saying, oh, Hunter Biden's a fuck up. He only got the job because his dad's in power. And it's like, okay, well, Pete Hegseth's a bigger fuck up and only got the job because he's grandpa's favorite guy on TV.
Literally. And I never seen a picture of Pete's penis with Skittles on it. So
I don't think Pete can hang that way.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either because freaking Hunter was he had the freaking I don't know if it was I can't remember if it was Skittles or M&Ms, but he had them shits lined up.
I think those were little dots of Coke, actually.
Okay, we got colored Coke now.
a dollop of Daisy, if you will. No, Pete's got too much whiskey dick to be able to handle that. But
Right.
there's been this issue where people are like, Donald Trump, you may have to start to trim the fat here. Elon Musk has been, I don't know. I guess buck breaking is the wrong word. But
is it a pack yet? Is it a pack?
Almost. It's almost a self pack, which I don't know is pleases me more or is just disappointing because he had to everybody want to be a gangster until the quarterly shareholders call.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see like a minute by minute view of Tesla's stock price falling down during that shareholder call. And then once Elon says, yeah, it's about time for me to take some step back from Doge. I've done most of my work. I'm now going to start focusing more on the company. Stock shoots back up again. It starts like going back up immediately.
Which is also annoying too. I'm like, why? Well, why is this idiot's around and shit doing better? Because it's like you're doing more damage just to the government and making like this. Just get out of the public view. Actually, just disappear for a good like 9 months so people don't think of you with this car.
No, that's kind of been the secret. I mean, to the extent that SpaceX is functioning normally, it was because Elon Musk had distractions in Tesla, in Neuralink, in Twitter and X. So SpaceX could become a, just another government contractor. They could become another Raytheon or a Northrop Grumman and just, sit silently by and develop their space kill machines for the US government, right? Or space spy machines for the US government. So they were well off doing that because Elon Musk was just, preoccupied with those other things. But it's kind of an interesting point too, because we see how much of an F up he is. He's been exposed very publicly to be an F up. And so now we are seeing the effect of Elon Musk coming back around to other companies. And the investors are sheep and they'll see, okay, Elon Musk is going to focus on his companies. That's what he's good at. The investors might have to come to terms with, what if Elon being back is not the best thing for the company? Like, what if he's going to do what he was famous for doing in Tesla, was delaying production because he didn't like the government mandated yellow caution tape that had to be all over the factory floor. He had it all ripped up and made red because he likes the color red more. It's more badass. The Cybertruck, which was a car that Elon Musk overruled all the engineers and said it must look like this, and it's the car that's flopping. Like the Model 3 and the Model X, like you see so many of the other Tesla cars on the road because normal people got to design them.
Yeah,
like
you see Model Ys, a million Model Ys a day.
Yeah, because people who actually design cars got to design them, and Elon Musk was preoccupied and unable to be in the room at that point. He's one of those CEOs where the less you see of him, the better the company functions.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I see a Cybertruck every day too, and it's really just like it ruins my day every time. It's just like the worst thing ever.
It's so funny, easy bake truck.
And then I like see sometimes a person getting out of it. I'm like, why do you have a Cybertruck? But I'm not going to say who that person is. But
Oh no,
yeah, you know, I'll say this about just like the Elon Tesla thing. I could see like I could see like he has ruined his own reputation so much that like even if he's like out of being in the government or whatever, like he's already done so much damage that people still have that bad taste in their mouth when it comes to Tesla. And who's to say, like, even if he steps away, like whatever bad things that end up continuing to happen with this Trump administration, people still blame him for it. Like that could happen too. Like they're just like, nah, it's still Elon's fault, or they just think it's Elon's fault, and Tesla's shit still tanks.
I think that could easily happen because,
right.
First of all, this was Europe that was leading a lot of Tesla's sales to be slumping. Because I mean, it's already done. Like Tesla's biggest market was China, and now China's being not only was BID killing them, that was before all these tariffs happening. China might look at Tesla and go, you know what, fuck the Americans, get out. Like BYD's the winner. You turn to Europe. Europe is now embracing BYD and these Chinese companies more, and the consumers were like, we hate Tesla. We have no interest in Tesla or participating in Elon Musk things, and that was a fairly consumer level thing. You have certain EU governments that are like, we're canceling our contracts with Starlink and SpaceX. Like, no, we're not going to give you any more money. It's like that damage is already done. It's going to continue to be done at many of his other companies. But yeah, I think the stench is still going to be there because people are going to be able to. I keep going back to that realization that we had the week after the election coverage, where Sachi and I were reminding you that Google Trends spiked for when did Joe Biden drop out on election day. So like the stench is going to be there. People are going to be especially because Elon Musk is too much of a little baby bitch to admit that he's leaving or he's quitting, or that the reality is he got griefed and trolled out of the government. And Donald Trump is not going to bruise his billionaire purse, who is Elon Musk. He's not going to embarrass him so much so that he publicly fires him. They're both going to do this mutual, Elon's busy and he said he's going to go back to his businesses. So, I let him do that. And Elon's going to say, well, yeah, well, I'm still involved, but I've downsized my time and I set up everything. And so because there won't be that clean break, the Democrats, and I'm not going to say this is a party because they aren't that smart, but any savvy Democrat can continue to tie Elon Musk to the Trump administration and should continue to do that just like over and over and over again. So that it's harder for Trump and Musk, as toxic as they are, to run away from each other. Like they hugged each other and made this bet. Let them crash out together.
Literally. I was hearing something yesterday or the other day about some car BYD is I don't think it's out yet, but they're going to be releasing at some point soon or next year.
Charges in 5 minutes.
5 minutes, 250 miles in 5 minutes.
That's a wrap.
Yeah, so it's like now I don't know like how much. Obviously, like we don't get Chinese cars in America, but I don't know like how much people are going to hear about this car. I'm like BYD, like you have offices in America, like you have an office, you have like 2 offices in LA. Like you should just start running commercials about your cars, even though we can't get them here, just to get people to be like, "Hey, how come we can't get that fucking car here, dude?" like, wait a minute, this just said 250 miles in 5 minutes. What the hell?
They could just run. They could just run at like the way Temu flooded the market with ads. They could just run a bunch of ads that are like, "This is a car that charges in 5 minutes, but you can't have it because Elon Musk and Donald Trump want to doom you into getting into their death cars." And they can, play that. They already have the footage. They can play that thing of Trump on the White House lawn.
Love Tesla. Everything's computer.
They could just do that and then go, BYD, call your congressman. Americans want freedom. Get yourself a Chinese car.
Right. And like, I guess like
computer.
Jesus Christ. I guess like what both administrations, Biden and Trump administrations are saying, like, we don't want like the Chinese software or whatever. Well, why don't you just do the same thing with TikTok? Like, okay, have some freaking Oracle make the software. I don't know, like just put another company on it and we can still get a BYD card. I've been talking to Caesar a lot about, or maybe I asked you too, I can't remember, about can you just buy a BYD in Mexico and just bring it here? Now, I did find out since then that you have to be a Mexican citizen to buy a car there. So I guess you can't. And also Canada doesn't have BYDs. I don't think that Canada doesn't have Chinese cars either. So we're kind of screwed.
If you, I can't say you can buy a car, but if you obtain a car that was originally in Mexico that happens to just drive over the border, like people drive in San Diego, you see people driving with BYDs fairly often because they're just like driving over with the border with Baja plates.
Right. Yeah.
So, like whatever. Like,
just drive around here with Baja plates until you get pulled over. I don't know. Shit.
No, I can imagine them just like, okay, well, let's just swap license plates and then we're good. Like, just register it as a Kia EV6 or whatever. And no cop will have any idea what you're talking about. They'll be like, okay, yeah, fine. Checks out. Whatever.
Just flash a nipple. You'll be fine. Yeah, but
that should be the slogan for California Highway Patrol. Flash a nipple. You'll be fine. CHP.
Right. I wonder. Yeah. But like you're saying, I really hope that stench that he has gotten from being around the government, will keep laying there, because Elon was like going back, like I'm saying this like the beginning of the administration, like how insane it is to have the president sitting there talking at the Oval Office or whatever with the billionaire that funded his campaign the most, like them just being there together talking to the press. Like, that is so wild. Can you imagine if Joe Biden was sitting there with George Soros? Like, that'd be the craziest thing ever. But they've changed the game completely. Like, he's like, no, I bought this president, so I'm making rules too. There used to be a time when a lot of like the friggin' down home, I love America types hated billionaires. I don't know what happened to that. But yeah, hopefully he fucked up so much and then hopefully Tesla tanks so we can get Chinese EVs here, because I would love to have an EV that gets like 400, 500 miles. That'd be great. And they look cool too.
Uh, they're cooking us, dude. I have this conversation. I feel like way too much on Power Report, but I'm just like, oh, they're cooking us. In cars, especially, they're cooking us.
Hella.
Let's see some comments here. Elon Musk posting mission accomplished memes incoming. Yeah, we're close to that. No, we're describing the Cybertruck as exactly what a 5-year-old would design. No, a 5-year-old's got better design sensibilities. A 5-year-old at least understands that boxy cars look good. And that's what all of our cars look like. They're getting, our SUVs are getting boxier, brawnier. And Megan's saying, I saw a bumper sticker on a Tesla the other day that says, I know, but it's paid off. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of reluctant Tesla owner stickers. And I'm sorry, I'm very Pol Pot wearing glasses with that kind of thing. Like it's bad enough. There's still no excuse. I saw one. Okay. I saw one sticker that was like anti-Tesla Tesla Club. I'm like, you still own the, like, you still, especially because like where I'm at, like you could probably just catch the bus and like it's the same speed considering where you're going. Like you're in the base level Tesla Model 3, all right. You ain't even got that much range. You're not going on road. You're not driving 5 cities down to work every day. You work from home, all right. That's your grocery getter. Just get yourself a cart and get yourself one of them little bus pass cards and have yourself a good time. Whatever.
I can appreciate that level of Tesla hate. I'm down.
Yeah, I'm just like, I bought this before Elon was crazy. I mean, I would stick that on a Nissan Leaf and be like, I bought this before Elon went crazy. Elon was always crazy.
Exactly.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I'll go into that in a moment. Because that's interesting. I'm just going through some of the stories here. Do you want to talk about actually? I will say this. I think in the vein of, I don't think this billionaire thing that Elon Musk was doing is going to be working very much longer. In that spirit, we saw Elon Musk lose in that big Wisconsin special election thing where he went all in. He was like, I can just buy elections and get the outcome and the results I want. And that ended up really not happening. We've seen the Bernie and AOC's tour where they're going to red districts and pulling out like record breaking, like the most people attending a single rally in that district in history. And again, these are oftentimes red districts. There are 30,000 people both in Los Angeles, California and Bakersfield, California. And politically speaking, those are 2 separate places. In Oakland, I'm trying to get a video out about this this weekend if I can. But like Barbara Lee beat out a lot of millionaire, big money in Oakland, California to win that mayoral race. And that was just like a mess in all different directions. Truly a clinic in how badly the Democratic Party can snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. But thankfully, Barbara Lee won in that case. And all of these have been just like a strong rebuke of billionaires, and not just the money they spend in politics, but also the influence they're having in the political process. So hopefully some of that energy can go to New York, where there's like, I think 1 more month left until, maybe like a month and a half left until their primaries. Zoran Mamdani is still trailing Andrew Cuomo, unfortunately. A lot of that's name recognition. But just another reminder here that Andrew Cuomo is terrible. He apparently, his campaign asked the New York City Library, usually city libraries are sanctuaries, places where people can read, get resources, access the internet, especially on hot days, maybe get some air conditioning. And And as long as you get a library card, and usually you're like a taxpayer in your city or have an address in your city or whatever, and even sometimes it doesn't even matter. You can have access to those books in that library system, and it's one of the better pieces of a society. It's just like one of those public goods we all agree on. Yeah, Andrew Cuomo's like going to the library, going, "Hey, this is great. You should be charging money for this. you should be making money off of this." So yeah, Hellgate out of New York is reporting that Cuomo's campaign asked if they've considered charging for their services.
Oh my goodness.
Andrew Cuomo walking into a church is not like, so how many dollars per seat? you charge more money for the front pews, right?
You can stuff like 30 people in that pew, right?
It's like, I know you do that offering plate, but it's a little too optional. How about you put it in the front and get a bouncer for church?
Yeah, give the guy a gun when he. Like what kind of?
We are describing churches in the South.
Like what level libertarian are you, Cuomo? Also,
final boss libertarian Andrew Cuomo.
Literally,
hey, if you want your fire put out, you pay the toll.
Right. Also, I thought you were trying to buck the Italian mobster stereotypes. Like you over here at the library, like, oh guys, it's a nice book you got there. Huh? Like, what are we doing, man?
Ask Oscar the Grouch and Elmo from Sesame Street where the cut is.
What? Okay, wait. What's their first names? I always forget him and his brothers. Somebody's Andrew.
Andrew Cuomo is the mayor. He's the disgraced former governor who's running for mayor. It's Chris Cuomo who's the TV host.
Chris, yeah. Chris Cuomo's a piece of shit too, but I do have to give him respect when that guy was calling him the rat from The Godfather or whatever. I forgot. Is it Fredro or something like that? I don't know. Frito, yeah, or something like that. Fredo. And Chris Cuomo was about to beat his ass. That guy backed down real quick. I was like, I can
that's
respect
anti-Italian racism, and it won't be tolerated.
That dude, he took a step back. Chris Cuomo wasn't fucking around.
Yeah. I will say that they're a piece of shit though. Yeah. So, luckily Zoran Mondani has stopped asking for money because New York City has like a matching thing where if you're running for mayor, you can get a certain amount of match dollars, and it has to be small dollar donations that apply to that match amount too. So Zoran is maxed out on those through small dollar donations. Andrew Cuomo is, poor him. He only has large dollar donations and major organizations giving to him. Plus, he's a wealthy Democrat and the son of a man so corrupt that his name is on a bridge in New York State. Like you don't get your name on a bridge unless you're a dead politician or you're corrupt in the state of New York or New Jersey. So yeah, the Mario Cuomo Bridge. Come on.
Don't look up who Verrazano was.
Don't look up who Kajushko was. So yeah, none of that's really good. I don't know. It was really quick. Like, you're not going to get the coherent analysis that I wish I could give on India and Pakistan right now. I'll just say that historically speaking, India and Pakistan are two very similar countries. Really, they're basically the same people. And inside of those countries are very homogenous populations. Everyone in India identifies as Indian. Everyone in Pakistan identifies as Pakistani. They have for centuries. It's just always been like that. And every once in a while, the two they're like bickering brothers. They have a fracas, if you will, as they call it in England. I'm of course being extremely facetious. These are very complicated places, even internally. Like the idea of an Indian identity is something that is imposed by outsiders onto India. Right. Like you got billions of people in India, all different like ways of life and lifestyles and qualities of life. And then you have Pakistan, which I will say one big difference is that India under Narendra Modi is a Hindu nationalist sort of state. Even if that doesn't always trickle down and through the policies, like you do have your Muslim enclaves here and there, and it's not totally illegal to be a Muslim in India, but it's not great. And that has kind of been some of the conflicts between Pakistan and India. They've had this like on again, off again battle over their territories and where borders end and where they begin. Tom York. And there's recently, and it's kind of hard to get these details out because they're just coming out, but there's a group that is claiming to be like a separatist group related to Pakistan, and they are being accused of killing almost like 30 tourists near the border. India is saying that this is an act of terrorism against Pakistan. Pakistan is saying like, yo, I mean, we don't have to ask us to get out of bed for us to hate India, but like we didn't do this. And India is responding by saying we're going to they had a deal to share water even very recently. Excuse me. They had a deal to share water, and that was taken taken away by Narendra Modi because of all the stuff going on. And Pakistan's like, okay, if you start taking away our water, if you start fucking with our water, then we're gonna have to escalate things really quickly. And then we're gonna unleash allergies, and it's gonna be really terrible for Dan. No, but
COVID sneeze.
That's kind of the high. Oh no. I can share it through the mic straight to Bam, so he's gonna get sick too, and that's gonna be his excuse for next week. But yeah, that's why don't you give the fine people while I blow my nose the people's history of
of Kashmir. The funny thing, I want to like a few weeks ago, I was reading about there was like a fashion show in Kashmir, and like some models came from like around the world, and they were
that's where they get the sweaters, right?
They were having this fashion show, but it was like I guess it was at like some ski resort or something like that. But there were some people that were against it because of conservative lifestyles. But yeah, there was some attack. Some tourists got killed, and Modi doesn't need much precedent to like blame Pakistan for anything, or to blame like Muslims for anything. The funny thing is, India is in the top 5 of most Muslim people in the world. It's either like 3rd or 4th or something like that. Highest population of Muslim people in the world. And, it's telling, I wonder like what extent of the population like really, really hates Modi out of the Muslim population in India. Like, I wonder if he does have some people that came for him. But Pakistan and India have always had this like tense relation. It's been a lot better than in the past. I remember, 10 years ago, maybe like 15 years ago, there would be, it wouldn't be, there'd be like, I don't say fairly often, but like every once in a while, there would be like firing at each other, shells or light arms firing across the border. Pinkerbell, it's by raw number, not percentage. Yeah, it's by like raw number. What does it say?
India would India would be number 3
Yeah.
in Muslim population. Whenever they took this survey, it would have been 200 million people. So America has 300 million people, 330 million people, 340 million. So imagine 2/3 of America being Muslims. Now, if you watch Fox News, you already believe that. So, like, but for the rest of us,
but yeah, the relations between Pakistan and India, I don't know like exactly how they are. Pakistan is always having, political issues. I don't know like who's in jail that used to be the president right now. Like it's always turning up in Pakistan. The former cricket player dude, like, is he back in jail or what? I have no idea. But the situation in Kashmir, which is disputed, part of it, that used to be way more tense than it is. I feel like Modi doesn't want it to get back to that where they were like having their armies like stationed there and like every once in a while they would like be firing at each other. And to be honest with you, I feel like maybe the last time that happened might have been during Trump's first administration where they fired on each other, but I could be wrong about that. But yeah, this aside from the political aspect, this attack was terrible. I don't know if anybody's taking responsibility for it, but yeah. But 1947,
Bam wanted to see if I was listening.
I think it was 47. Honestly, I'm not really good with like South Asia. It might have been 1947. To be honest with you, it could be 48. I don't know. I can't remember.
What I just learned by scanning Wikipedia is that the current president of Pakistan appeared in this movie, Salgira, which is a Pakistani black and white love story. I don't know if he played like one of the main roles, but I just did want to have the cover art on here for posterity and just to show this. This is the culture segment. So
okay. So wait, who's the current president of Pakistan?
Asif Ali Zardari.
Okay, yeah. There was a dude who used to play cricket.
I'll be honest. He looks like Pakistani Rudy Giuliani.
Damn, holy shit, he does. That's hilarious. I don't know where he got them teeth from.
Turkish Airlines veneers.
Yeah, the last
One World.
I did watch a documentary about Benazir Bhutto, who was a woman. I don't know if it's prime minister or president, but leader of Pakistan some time ago, not that long ago though, and she got assassinated on camera. They did shoot her in the head. It was a good documentary though. She was interesting, and obviously there was a.
What's the name of the documentary? So I make sure I never see that scene.
Oh, it's probably called Bhutto, Bhutto. Like I can't remember the actual name of it, but it's just documentary about Benazir Bhutto. That's hilarious, my friend. Family Dental in Racine, Wisconsin. I've seen their work before. That's an unfortunate face to have. That's hilarious.
We have on screen an analysis of Donald Trump's teeth in 1986 versus in 2020.
The funny thing is, like, he just like changed colors of his face and teeth. Like his teeth were orange back then. Now his face is orange. His teeth are white. But back then his face was white. His teeth were orange.
Face swap.
Teeth face swap.
These filters are out of control.
Right. I'll say this last thing about India and Pakistan. I really hope they can figure it out, because that's the last thing we need right now is a war in another region of the world. Like, can we just not, dude? Like, let's not do that. I mean, they're both nuclear powers. I don't think they're gonna like go to war necessarily, but let's just chill on that, because we don't really need. We got Sudan and freaking Congo and Gaza and freaking Ukraine. Like, let's relax. Got the war on the family and war on Christmas.
We gotta get ready for our next deployment for the war on the family, because July 4th is coming up soon. So we gotta get ready.
Right.
It's gonna be a war on the grill, a war on the sausages.
Oh no!
Whoa. Pete Hegseth's war on sobriety. Here's a good story Sachi produced here. Let's talk about some cops. Don't you love talking about the police? Our friendly neighbors here. There's two situations going on. One in Alabama and one in Ohio.
No, I'm saying right here. I'm just turning this fan off because it's getting cold.
Oh, okay. I thought there was another bug. But there's kind of two things going on. One is in Alabama and one is in Ohio, and they both have to do with the cops. So in Alabama, they are passing basically another one of these right to die laws, essentially. This goes to qualified immunity, where police officers are generally the only people in America allowed to murder and get away with it in court. Because it's similar to the Donald Trump is above the law act that the Supreme Court decreed. This is a police are, below Donald Trump in the law. A police officer could shoot Donald Trump and get arrested. But Donald Trump can shoot a police officer and he won't get arrested. That's how it works. That's the hierarchy. Bam run the mathematics for me in the back. Thank you. The Alabama.com, AL.com, reporting here, a bill to expand legal immunity for police, a priority for Governor Kay Ivey and Republican leaders in the Alabama legislature, was praised at a public hearing on Wednesday, but sparked warnings about deadly consequences. Reynolds said Representative Roy Reynolds, state representative, said that the Back the Blue bill would update Alabama's law on police immunity that was last revised in 1979 and would align it with federal law, U.S. Supreme Court rulings, and what is taught in police academies, which is a nice thing right there, which is like, okay, well, there's this issue with the law where we're training cops in police academies that they're above the law and that they can shoot first and ask questions later. And this law in the backwoods state of Alabama that hasn't been changed since 1979 says that cops might not be immune from, the murder charges. So let's just change the law, because God forbid we change what we're teaching cops. That's just sort of insane there. And one of the opponents of this bill was reacting to it. State Senator Roger Smitherman from Birmingham, Alabama, saying that, quote, it's a green light for Black folks to get killed. Smitherman said there are very good police officers, but also some who are afraid of Black people and some who are biased against Black people. Bias against Black people in Alabama sounds a little bit weird to me, but unusual, could never happen. Meanwhile, you have in Ohio, of all states, the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, is about to clear the way for an Ohio constitutional amendment to end qualified immunity that would appear on voters' ballots the next time folks go to the polls in Ohio. So it's a bipartisan ruling allowing Ohio to get the amendment on ballots. And if it passes, basically it would be the opposite to where Ohio could remove qualified immunity from their state's constitution. Surprisingly enough, it was Kavanaugh who broke with the conservative justices to allow this to basically block what Ohio was trying to do and certify qualified immunity on there. So, of course, you'd be surprised, but Alito and Clarence Thomas dissented.
We need MGK out there in Ohio working to get this law changed. Not surprised about Alabama, although my dad is a cop in Alabama. My dad is a police chief in Alabama, actually.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Watch it. No, I'm joking. But yeah, you don't need to change the laws, dude. A cop shooting somebody, they're getting away with that shit. Like, especially if they shoot them. Like, Derek Chauvin had a worse time because he, choked out George Floyd with his knee. But if he shot him, yeah, dude, that's easy for a cop to get off on is shooting somebody. So, yeah, changing the law, I don't even know if that's gonna make the cops shoot more or less, but whether they didn't have the law or not, they're getting away with shooting somebody. I seen a video in Alabama of a cop body slamming like an old Indian dude, like who was like had to be like at least in his 70s.
The way I'm not even being facetious by saying, oh, I've seen multiple videos like that. I can't even remember exactly which one you're talking about.
Right. Like the guy didn't even speak English for real. He's trying to tell him something. He body slams him and like breaks his back or some shit. And that was in Alabama. And he was fine. That cop, I'm sure nothing happened to him.
Yeah, that's your dad.
Can you imagine? I'd be really sad if I saw. Every time I look on his Facebook, like I do see like he's not like a Republican, so I'm like, okay, that's good. Yeah, in Ohio, like the that law changing, like I don't even know if that's enough for the cops to not get away with shooting people. It'd be nice, but knowing how the cops play, like they play dirty. For sure, they're going to be, having their union and however, billions of dollars they have in that state to fight against this law passing. But if it does, then they're going to do things to like make sure the citizens of Ohio know like we're pissed off. If okay, we can't shoot people, we're going to start beating you up more. We're going to make sure our body cams off. Because the cops play hella dirty always, and they get away with everything. They're going to continue to get away with things until like the culture of policing changes. And fuck 12.
1312, yes. Good year. Great year for civil rights and habeas corpus. Yeah, I think, yeah, to your point, to close out on that, we've seen how laws work, and one of the nicer things about these times is that my friends who work in law who have seen this is like, okay, well, at the end of the day, this is the thing holding America together. This is the safety net, is our rules and laws and our rule of law and our respect for law. And then once people realize how easy that is to like be thrown out and thrown away, people are now realizing that like, oh, this isn't like a safety net around society. It's like the crunchy Cheeto in the lock, like in between the door, keeping the door closed for our democracy. It's very easy to break, essentially. And so it's important to know what the limits of the law are, and to also think about, getting rid of qualified immunity. Like first, they had to get people aware of this, and they had to like try to get it onto the ballot, and then they had to try to get to fight the courts within Ohio, because they were trying to get rid of the ability for qualified immunity to even be on the state ballot. And then it went up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, again, like on a whim, like Kavanaugh didn't have a beer that day. And he decided to side with the majority opinion and go against some of the conservatives. I guess shout out to not Christine Blasey Ford. That's directly not the wrong person. Amy Coney Barrett. I forget. It's either
that's the one that accused Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I know exactly. And like, it's either mass shooters or Supreme Court justices who are like white people who you say their full name. It's like, is John Wayne Gacy a Supreme Court justice? Or might as well be. Hard to tell the difference between his opinions and Alito's. But like, my point about there also in the chat, hi Kevin, and hi Sachi here. We're actually just talking about one of the stories you produced very well, might I add, by the way, about the difference between Alabama and Ohio and how they're handling qualified immunity for cops, right? But I was saying all that to say there's this entire legal process just to be able to get this on the ballot so people can vote on it. And there's still going to be an opportunity to run scaremongering ads. They're going to be able to dust off the immigrants eating the cats and eating the dogs sort of thing. And if a fine boy in blue has to shoot that lady who's eating the cats and eating the dogs, then that fine boy in blue shouldn't have to worry about going to jail for it, because they're protecting our good Ohioan culture from the immigrants at the Canadian border. It's like they'll dust all that off and they'll have the money to do it, but it was even a fight just to get it to this point. And even if it passes, cops can still get away with it. But it's just that chance to not have it on the books, and it takes this much of a fight. It doesn't mean the fight's not worth fighting, but I think it kind of shows how long these things can take and why you can't just give up because someone you're organizing with to get qualified immunity on the ballot says the wrong thing about Israel Palestine or something. Yeah, right. Like this is coalition building, and to do a very difficult thing, it takes a long time, and it takes a lot of people, and it takes generations of people to get excited and to stick with it. And sticking with it is how you get not even results, but a chance at results. So
right.
That's democracy, baby. It's fun, right?
Where's Dave Chappelle? You've lived in Ohio for decades. We need you, dog. You did that thing you did that little special for George Floyd. Where are you at? Dave Chappelle's always talking about going to town hall meetings and stuff like that. Did you stop now that you hang out with billionaires? Where are you at, Dave?
Bam, can you yell a little bit louder? I don't think he can hear it in the cul-de-sac. There's like a little gated community around him, and then he's got those hedges, and those hedges are really good at blocking sound, the privacy hedges that go over the property. So you're gonna have to speak up a little bit louder, although not too loud, because his homeowners association has a noise policy. They have to keep it down after 10 p.m. So as long as we can get the message to him, maybe in the daytime, maybe when he goes out to walk his pet comedian or something like that, he'll maybe get the message. Yeah, are there any, we're rounded down the hour here. Are there any stories that we talked about that we haven't gotten to that are on your sort of thinking, Bam?
We can end early, maybe in 8:45,
Nah.
I have been paying attention to Syria. Now everybody's gonna fall asleep when I said that, but there have been some
What's
issues.
going on in Lebanon? I'm kidding.
Israel's still bombing. Actually, I think I mentioned in the last episode how Israel's saying that they're going to be occupying Syria, Lebanon, Gaza indefinitely. I'm like, well, you've already been occupying Syria, actually. But yeah, I've heard that the new president of Syria has been talking about wanting to normalize relations with Israel. No big surprise there. He is formerly Al-Qaeda, right? But I guess there's been some issues with Turkey. Obviously, they have influence with this new president, and Israel's been a little bit skeptical of that for some reason. There's still some stuff going on with the Kurds. I guess Trump had about 1,000 soldiers leave Syria. 1,000 American soldiers left. I think there's like 900 left or 1,000 left or something like that. But the Kurdish people in Syria had been fighting alongside American soldiers. No big surprise there. But yeah, they're worried that if the Americans leave, that Turkey will. I want to know what Dan's laughing at. But they're worried that if the American soldiers leave, that Turkey is going to basically invade their region of Syria. That may or may not happen. I don't know. But yes, the Kurds were fighting with the Americans.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Syria thing is interesting, especially with Bashar al-Assad skedaddling over to Russia. Haven't heard much from him. Hopefully, maybe we can get some U.S. Congress people to do a wellness check on Bashar al-Assad.
Should I try to get him on PowerPoint?
Yeah. If we can, fly down to Sikot and see. By the, what is it? I heard the worst pronunciation by an American journalist of Sikot, the El Salvadoran prison, and I get maybe you're not going to say Sikot, or maybe you'll say Sikot, right? Please don't find me catch you saying suck it.
Suck it.
or second. Second without the N, just like second.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Also, the thing I was laughing about earlier was Sachi, the banger that you did miss, was everything that led up to Kanye West being a moil.
Oh, God. Yeah, you can't make that joke, dude. You can't do that. That is like actually anti-Semitic.
It is.
Yeah, damn.
Not when I say it's Kanye. It's like actually that makes it worse.
Exactly.
No, yeah, I think one thing here for the Trump frees Palestine crowd, student loans are back with a vengeance. Not only are people going to have to pay on them, but the government's going to be handling student loans to debt collections now. So if you haven't been paying them, get on that and pay something, because they are going to send it to collection soon. Yeah, which I just think is cruel and unusual and ridiculous. And you have a lot of liberals now who are saying I don't get it. It's your responsibility. You knew what was going to happen when you took the loan out. You should just take responsibility. Why do American taxpayers have to bail out these college students? And these are the same Americans who will complain about, well, we pay so much for healthcare. We can't have universal healthcare because it takes so long to get a doctor. It's like, yeah, because you're pocket watching people who go to college to become doctors and saying that we can't pay and we can't cover their student loans. It goes back to the conversation we were having earlier around I think we were talking about it with the economy and tariffs were involved, but just in general. Oh no, we're talking about with babies. Exactly, right? If you want a society where it's easy to go see a doctor, then that involves having a society where the friction to educate and train a doctor is removed by the society as much as possible. One friction to becoming a doctor may be taking out 6 figures worth of loans, spending a decade of your life training in the field, and only is it in that last 2 years do you make something even resembling a salary. And again, not even that. Then if you're lucky enough to specialize, then if you're lucky enough to stick through it, then they give you the 6-figure job that allows you to pay that debt back. But that debt's been accruing interest. It's been taking time to go up. And that debt that's being paid back is going to be money that doesn't go back into the economy, whether that doctor wants to buy a house or a Mercedes. The 2 things that doctors buy. It's literally only those 2 things.
I was literally having Mercedes on the tip of my tongue this whole time. He's got to get his Mercedes, though.
Everyone knows you join the military so you can get your Dodge Hellcat. You become a doctor so you can get your Mercedes G-Class. That's just how it goes. S-Class for the wife, G-Class for the man. That's just how it is. But no, if you have a society that makes it easier for doctors to doc, then you are going to make healthcare outcomes better. Because your doctor, while they're performing, pinpoint surgery on your body, are not going to be sweating or anxious about their medical bills.
Right. Yeah, no, it's the short-sightedness of the greed capitalism. It's just but how do I get $1 today, though? How do I get $1 this minute?
Yeah, like, and what people are saying is that, okay, if you start putting these people in collections, or getting these people to pay back student loans, there was a pause on student loan interest accruing, and there were a bunch of different programs. Yeah, Joe Biden didn't try far enough to cancel student loan debt, even though Chuck Schumer made it one of his top priorities. Student loan debt didn't get canceled in the Biden administration, but they did do a lot of different things to ease repayment options. They made a lot of different, okay, if you're working for nonprofits or certain government agencies for a period of time, now those nonprofits are being defunded and people are getting fired from those government agencies. So good for that. But there were these things in place to make payments easier. Now that you have people paying back debts, debt doesn't contribute to the economy, right? Like, there's a multiplier of money effect, and now people are going to fall asleep. There's a multiplier of money effect, and that's the idea that if you go to a grocery store and buy $100 worth of food, some percentage of that money is going to become a salary for the people who work there, and then they're going to spend it on food, makeup, clothes, rent, etc. The people who brought the groceries to the store are going to get paid. The people who manufacture the groceries, they're going to get paid. And all of those people are going to spend that money, so on and so on. So money multiplies out in that way. And, it becomes like less and less and less over time if you're looking at a small amount like $50. But if you're looking at like a $50,000 car, you start to see how that breaks down throughout the economy. Debt, you might as well think of it as a black hole, right? Like, that's money that's already been like taken out and was already spent. So like when you got books or you paid rent in college, like that money multiplier effect's already gone. Now you're just paying it back with interest, and that interest is just a fee that some debt servicer takes off the top. And that's it. That debt servicer just uses that interest fee for keeping the automated payment system running, the automatic collection system running, bad or non-existent customer service, and inflated salaries for whoever runs that debt servicer. So that money is not really going back into the economy. In fact, you look at how much money millionaires and billionaires contribute to the economy, and it's not that much. You say like, oh, they're creating jobs or whatever. Like, those jobs could be handled by the government if you wanted to, actually, and then you wouldn't be paying the government an inflated multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar salary. But it's this like financialization. It's this, how do you make money sort of part of the economy that is the waste, fraud, and abuse within our system.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that this is happening. I don't think there's any way to, like, it'd be nice if Trump is like, or the administration is like, okay, you got to pay back your student loan debts, but at least I made groceries less, like I said I would, and at least I stopped all these wars, but like, it's just broken promises and also more hell to pay by this administration, just imagine we could have had Kamala, we could have had her. We'd be doing a lot better.
But if we had Kamala, then we wouldn't have been able to see Donald Trump free Palestine.
True. That's true. And it's almost there, guys. It's almost there.
Oh, we Palestine has been freed like 50, 60 times.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
In fact, I do want to end the 16th freeing of Palestine on a light note. And so how we'll end the show, actually, are some clips of King President Trump speaking at Easter in front of one of our nation's foremost cybersecurity experts, actually. Let me play this here.
And speaking of special, Easter is special, and it's one of our favorite days. It's one of our favorite periods of time. We're honoring Jesus Christ, and we're going to honor Jesus Christ very powerfully throughout our lives, all throughout our lives, not just now, all throughout our lives. We're bringing religion back in America. We're bringing a lot of things back, but religion is coming back to America. That's why you see the kind of numbers that you're seeing, the spirit and the kind of numbers that you're seeing. So we're going to come down and join you right now. But I just want to wish everybody once again, happy Easter. and enjoy your lives. We're going to have a great 4 years. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
I really think he's like he's doing this on purpose, like, right? Like he's like memeing himself.
We're gonna celebrate Jesus very powerfully. It's gonna be a powerful celebration while he's surrounded by flowers and a kid in an Easter bunny costume. Jesus is gonna see our numbers. Jesus has never seen numbers like this before. He's gonna these numbers are gonna be so good. He's gonna wake up from the dead. Give him 3 days. 3 days. I told him, Jesus, give me 3 days. These numbers will really rock your socks off. Let me tell you.
I love Tesla.
I love Easter. I love Easter.
Like he couldn't even say he is risen. He couldn't even do that. Jesus, it's like a parody. It's like he's doing a parody of himself at this point. Like it's like you're seeing the dude on SNL and you're doing him.
No, it's like it makes SNL worse because there's nothing better than the original. You can't,
Right.
like he, you can't even. This is the guy who evangelicals love him, by the way, of course, because he delivers the goods, even though he'll turn around and go, 2 Corinthians, that's my favorite. 2 Corinthians, it's one of my favorite Bible verses. It's really the best one, but all of them are great. It's so hard to pick a Bible verse. I know so many and they're all so good. Can I show you one last one while we're having fun?
Yes.
So Donald Trump was surrounded by a bunch of kids around Easter. Hey, run for your life. But
Not the Pope, right?
yeah, there's hardly any difference. Guess what Donald Trump decided to whip out in front of these kids?
Dan, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't Kanye him.
You know what? I'd almost rather he did that. Instead, look at how aggressively he's showing a trading card that, if you zoom in, is when he got shot.
Oh, God. Oh my
And
God.
he's holding up the fist, and he's got it in its little like Pokemon card case and everything, and he's got his autographing pen. You can see here there's like a boy with a MAGA hat, and it has Donald Trump's dumbass signature on it. But he's like, "You see this, kids? You see this? It's Grandpa who needs to show you a Facebook post on his phone." And he's like telling you, "Come over here. I want you to see this. I want you to see this. These are 9 weird tricks to unclog a toilet. It's really fascinating stuff. Come on, you're gonna want to see this. It's really good. I've got the best sources on Facebook. Trust me, the best sources."
You want to see this, kids? When I got shot, kid. Like, what the hell, man?
And this is when the blood was flying out of my head, and I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight." And then one day, one of you, I see you kids here. You're either gonna be shooters or shot. You're either gonna be shooters or you're gonna be shot. That's how you're gonna be in this world. You're either a shooter or you're the shootee. You're shotted.
You're shit.
You're shot. No, you see, I did a callback because I added "shotted" to the end of that.
No, too late. Too late. Sorry.
This has been Power Report, a little bit of a special occasion because I'm announcing that I'm being kicked off of the show. No. I have some moving logistics to handle and do, and so next week, Ray, Bam, and Sachi, and Bam's line of coke that he's been doing off screen the whole time. No wonder you can't see his fingers. He's been all like jittery the whole time. But they will be taking over the show. It literally won't be me. I'll have it'll be streaming on all my platforms, everything, but it won't be me here. And I'm excited to watch from afar and nervously direct from my chair. No, it'll be an interesting. My dream is to frankly have a break. But we will be moving the Syndicate 23 streaming studios, the production compound, to a different region. So thank you all in advance for handling that. You will do very fine while I'm gone. There is one last clip I wanted to play because It has to do with what we were talking about earlier here. But this does bring everything full circle. If I can get this to load here, thank you. X the shitty website for videos. Here's Pete Hegseth explaining to the press why you shouldn't have to worry about his secondary leaks. Now, there's going to be a lot of things you can notice about Pete Hegseth here. I want you to play a game. Who has had more to drink tonight? Pete Hegseth in this video or me? Yeah, let's just analyze this. And Bam, you're a forensics expert, so let's see if you can catch all the Easter eggs here. No pun intended.
And anonymous smears from disgruntled former employees on old news doesn't matter. So I'm happy to be here at the Easter egg.
So here's one thing I want you to notice. His like sideburns are not cut on this side of his hair, of his head, and they are still there on that side. So you see that?
Okay, go to the other side. Oh yeah, that's a bad edge up there. You got half an edge.
Mind you, this is the guy who wanted to ban LGBTQ things in the military, and he also ordered a makeup room to be added near his office in the Capitol because he's used to being on TV.
Oh no, Pete.
He has the American flag handkerchief, and
that's terrible.
While I continue in the corner here, look at the kids. Look at the kids' reactions. They're just like, seriously?
They're like, why are you making us stand here? What the hell?
And anonymous smears from disgruntled former employees on old news doesn't matter. So I'm happy to be here at the Easter egg roll with my dad and my kids.
All the kids are like, Dad, get us out of here. Jeez. Dad, we smell it on your breath again.
Oh my God. They're never mind. Let me leave the kids out of it.
Because, this is what we're doing it for. These kids right here. This is why we're fighting.
You can hear him. You can see him trying to hold something in.
The fake news media. These kids right here. This is why we're fighting the fake news media. This is why we're fighting slash and burn Democrats. This is why we're fighting hoaxsters. Hoaxsters. This group, no, this group right here, full of hoaxsters that peddle anonymous sources from leakers with access to grind, and then you put it all together as if it's some news story. And what we know, we know exactly what.
I like that is doing like the big naturals gesture as he's talking about the news story.
Yeah. Also, it's like you are a news guy too, buddy.
It's like it's all these news people who are. Sorry, I was muting it, but all these news people who are
access to grind, and then you put it all together as if it's some news story. And what we know,
the Secretary of Defense complaining that people are talking about him.
Right. Who came from Fox News.
The former Fox News host, who is now leader of the Defense Department, head of the Pentagon, who's really hitting us with the old
news show, and that is what happened in the news.
you know exactly what it is. So I'm really
even his kid right there is like, not sure about that, buddy. Like his kid looks like he hosts a show on Comedy Central and he's about to deliver the punchline.
really proud of what we're doing for the president, fighting hard across the board, and I'm going to go roll some Easter eggs. And then
I'm going to roll some Easter eggs.
I'm going to roll
some Easter eggs as soon as the mistress over here tops me off. Yes, on the rocks again, ma'am.
Neat.
He would be the kind of sicko to have a cup, like literally a cup full of neat scotch, like room temperature.
Oh yeah. 100%.
And he'd like chug with that, and then like.
Oh no, yeah, he's like not there. There's no sips.
Yeah. This has been your power report. If you have a drinking problem, there are numbers you can call, I guess. But anyways, I will not see you next week. Bam and Sachi and Ray will. Until then, stay in school. Bye. All right.